gonna actually hop in there, get the elimination for him. Doesn't need to, and already sitting on 4 eliminations for this. And using a med mist early, I can't help to think maybe just the chugs.
Yeah, they do end up having the excess of chug splashes, but especially with those big shields, it's just more about slot management. What do you end up carrying? And while the med mist is there, it seems like that might have ended up being their extra white heal. So it's just like, hey, if you're not going to end up carrying something else, might as well burn through it if you're going to drop it on the ground, right?
Oh, exactly. And look, this is actually kind of genius, using that shield keg, because they know, hey, we're not really going to get a chance to use it, because look at where they are. To just go ahead and peek, over peek, look for those tags, look for anything, because it's going to immediately heal them back up. Like, there's literally no punishment there for them to take any sort of damage, because it's just healing them right back up to full. So that's a pretty great usage of it, and I want to see more of it.
I think definitely one of the items that, while not necessarily the strongest thing in the game, it has very strong situational uses.
Situational using items, if you will, because it's just, hey, you have a space for this and we're already set up in zone, it's definitely worth using. Like right now, it's not worth grabbing. But J Rose's in E2 did set a new single game point record in game number 1 for NA West. That's going to be 68. But Sundown, they are below Surge. Zone is already moving, and they already are using a lot of their match and shields. This is not looking good.
Yeah, but they're not too below Surge, and they do have this truck just trying to drive its way across the water. I think this might end up being a circumstance where you double back and potentially consider dropping one of those Stinger SMGs for a shield keg, because there's not a whole lot of teams here, and if you're not able to get these tags like right here, right now, you're going to just end up pushing into people who are already going to be holding zone on you. So it's going to be incredibly difficult for this duo to be able to make up the damage they need. But even as I say that, they've whittled the number down from 78 to 17. So they're doing a good job. And J Roses does have a ton of chug splashes as well as excess big shields. So as long as they can get a line here onto Xeno and Nickjaw and potentially take this fight sooner rather than later, they shouldn't be in a bad situation. But not having a shotgun and then immediately closing the gap puts them in a terrible position. Still 3 below, and that Storm Surge will start ticking in 45 seconds. So they got time to figure it out, but the clock is literally ticking.
Barely above 21, now down to 18. It may hold, but again, with 8 players that need to go down, everyone's going to be looking for tags. J Rose is just going to go in. This is how they're looking to get their eliminations. Looks like another one coming over just yet. No, they're able to actually get out of it. And now look at the swap there, the little bait and switch, and J Roses is going to fall for it there. E22 has about 70 effective HP, trying to get back up. Will get 1 elimination. I believe that actually may have gone over to J Roses, so no siphon there granted, but that was such a good play from Nickjaw, just to bait out his teammate who he knew was weak, swap places with them, and get that elimination.
That's what you have to end up doing in that circumstance. But right now, 8-2, looking for a little bit of space, trying to put in the work. They are above Storm Surge, but it is a 2-tick storm. So even with the launch pad times ticking just past the hour, one more, not enough. He goes down. But luckily for him, he did not get tagged on the way. So there's 3 points that just kind of disappear off into the void. They'll be a little happy about that. And you can see Arkham and Epic, well, I thought they were actually going to box up on top of those slip barrels, which would have been a slightly more efficient strategy, because you could have boxed up a metal and then been able to just have the metal ready to go, as well as extra HP for trading. But instead, going to go a little bit past them and make sure they are just right in the center of the zone.
And they're being a little bit greedy keeping that car around, because as we all know, everyone in Fortnite knows, they're just going to shoot the car. Any opponent's going to see that car inside of a base, and they're just going to shoot it. As we move over, look at World. They did lose their teammate, but they got to look at their loadout. They've got the web slingers. They've got a legendary and epic SMG in their inventory. They've got a lot to work with. So overall, we'll be in a good spot for a solo. Definitely want to have their teammate up, but not bad overall. I mean, I as a solo, I would love to have max mats and 11 chug splashes with max charges in my web slingers.
I would also really like to not be a solo, you know, if I had that option. That'd be fantastic. I mean, this situation isn't terrible. I will say the one thing, as a solo, especially in a duo scenarios, in solos, it's a little bit less pressing, but not carrying a shotgun is tough because, yes, while the Stinger SMGs are very strong, the Stingers, just by their nature of being kind of the close quarters combat weapon, is a weapon of attrition. You have to go in and you have to trade out. It doesn't matter how good or how strong that weapon is. If you then dive in a 1v2 and somebody chunks you with the shotgun, big one-shot potential that ends up coming with carrying a shotgun and being able to hit the shots, it becomes a lot harder to just single out somebody and then finish them, because not only do you have to burn through the entirety of their shield and their HP, you have to finish the downed opponent if they're not a solo. Oh, this is brilliant.
Oh, I love this. I love this already. You can see it setting up perfectly. Just going to give them that maximum amount of rotation coming through. And it's just ingenuity as well from these top players that'll set them apart. As Wills does look for some tags on the other side. I wonder where they're standing at 0 eliminations. They are second place currently. Oh, look at that damage coming through. That unfortunately is going to get sniped away. Doesn't matter right now. If, yes, he gets that elimination, it's an extra couple points towards them. But right now, Storm Surge is very prevalent. And with them having no elims, I worry about where they're sitting.
Yeah, they have a great angle. Like, shout out to the observers right now for just showing. They can see pretty much the entire rest of the lobby in zones right in front of them, right? So they don't have to go necessarily far. They can hang out here forever. And then when they do decide to go, they have a nice little jump already set up, ready to go, just Evil Knievel style, just yeet themselves into the fray. Honestly, while the foresight to set up the play is really nice, I don't think you need it. I think you just slide down the hill and you box up on the natural high ground directly in front of you, despite the fact that I do want to see somebody just go fly.
I'm with you. I want to see him do it, but again, it's one of those things. It's like, we could have done it without it, but it'll be good to see regardless as we get a nice picture of 3 of our biggest competitors here. Fabs and Snacky on the bottom left. Art from Epic Whale there on the bottom right. They are, I believe, just inside of the zone there, maybe just outside. But no, yeah, they're looking good as they're going to try to hold a team out. Again, that car going to be their target. If they can blow that up as well, that's more damage right off of those opponents that they're looking at. And again, you're right. Just look at this angle they hold. Everyone on this side right there to their south is just completely cut off from rotating the zone.
Yeah, they can see everything. I mean, honestly, the biggest distracting factor is Wheels just doesn't have the medium ammo, and despite having an absolutely sick jump setup, they're going to do the intelligent play and just slide forward like 5 or 6 grid spaces and be on the priority high ground for the 4th zone. So great play by Wheels and Batman Booga to set themselves up. Need to be a little bit careful, though, because they are separated. And there you go, Batman Booga gets on his high horse and ends up riding on in there. So we're going to swing on over. Currently in 10th place, Fabs, TSM Snacky, trying to do whatever they can, getting wall to wall. You can see Shallow on the right hand side, currently below the Storm Surge. Well, it's him and 7 other duos. So a lot of people are going to have to get to work very quickly.
He's got the double SMG, but look, they spotted him out. They know he's a solo, and once you're tagged in the lobby as, hey, that's a solo right there, it's going to be hard to get away. Arkham and Epic Whale right down below him to the left. Is he going to be able to get out of the situation? But 8 seconds left. He's going to hop into a box. He's going to get an elimination. He's going to take that one away. It's going to be Salty. He's going to find the confirmation there as well. Still below, only 97, though. This may be manageable there. May be able to find Pouillet on the other side, but I don't know. This is still getting rough. 134. It's like that damage didn't even matter because everyone else is getting damage as well. There's the other solo on solo 1v1. Storm Surge, though, making it a 1v2, and Shallow looks like they may go down.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult here. But right now you can see just the Elim feed lighting up in the top left-hand corner as players are being forced to move because of Storm Surge. And Shallow, after burning through all of his utility, is going to do it. You can see Arkham picking up yet another Elim in, getting dropped down into the box is Shallow, but sprayed away. Kruger can be the one who picks that up.
Getting that return elimination back onto the player that got his teammate as Rush will fall. We swap over to Punisher and Landjock, who look like they're going to launch pad all the way in. Only 2 teams currently in the zone, and honestly an early rotate that will set them up really well. Oh, that is a beautiful opening there, and we've seen Epic Well do it before, but Landjack is not going to hop into the box. I think, rather Punisher not going to. Landjack too far behind, honestly. So now if he was going to hop in that box, I was ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he might have gone, but then he just kind of put the brakes on a little bit. His Monkey was able to find some good shots there on the backside of the zone and really picked up a free rotation. Look at the bottom right-hand corner. You might be able to just go on a nice little stroll. Honestly, like, I would stop building. Yeah, and he's just about to say, hey, wait, everyone's already made it in there. I'm late to the party, but they didn't. Looks like nobody remembered to lock the door, and he's just going to be able to walk right on in like he belongs.
Yeah, no one was looking at him, which is perfect. That's what you want. But this is a great rotation, able to save a lot of builds, right? He did build a lot towards the end there, but overall, the amount of builds that he saved was great. As we move over to Arkham and Epic Whale, 6th place currently, after all the points have been divvied out for this game. They're in an okay spot on low ground. They've got a launch pad. They're still looking pretty healthy on materials. That's also one of the things that I've always worried about them. Right, you can always tell how their games are going based on how many materials they spent, because usually Arkham and Epic Whale like to be very aggressive, spend a lot of the materials. They're going to find a solo, get that recap on the materials, so it doesn't matter. And one thing that you and I have talked about extensively on Arkham and Epic Whale is that they do like to over-index on heals. So you look at Arkham, he's got 3 healing items in his inventory. I'm assuming Epic Whale has the exact same amount, and this is great for them because it allows them to be aggressive. It allows them to go for trades like that and not get punished.
Yeah, so really like the additional tech there of just slamming down the armored wall right after getting the elimination, just saying, nope, this is our loot. I don't have to worry about constantly replacing that. I'm not going to get picked off because you double sprayed my metal. And we're able to catch me while I was just trying to sort out what's there, slam down the armored wall, get everything you need, as we're now going to swap on over. Lil Guifu front side of the zone, but Babs and Snacky up on the high ground. And remember, the trend for NA West has generally been, once you're up on height, you're there. Nobody is looking. However, Epic Whale and Arkham are green. Guifu still trying to do his best, finding a little bit of room here. 615 above, but with only one more duo who needs to go down. I don't think Storm Surge is going to be in play too long, as yet another elimination and a refresh goes over to Arkham and Epic Whale.
1,000 damage above, but only 2 eliminations, and here we go. Arkham looking for the sneaky move, looking for that high ground retake. Is going to get taken a little bit down there, but they've honestly forgot about him. He's going to get some nice damage off. They're getting chopped down as well. There you go. Arkham's got the high ground. Someone behind him, but doesn't even matter. They're on the high ground. Epic Whale is right there with them, and all of a sudden now it gets very scary for the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, but they almost went too high there. They're way over-indexed on it, and they wasted a ton of builds in that regard. So now their hard mats are very minimal. However, it's late enough now where they should just be able to run it out with single tarps between the two of them. They're missing out on a bunch of eliminations on the low ground, but they don't care. They'll ride it out knowing they'll get their share of the points. Remember, it's all about the qual for them, as they don't want to miss the finals. Epic Whale wants to put a 7 in his name, but somebody is looking for some more points right now. Is Guifu, is still running it as a solo. Big 66 tag there, gets the spot. 55 as well, but not going to find the cleanup as he goes down in 18. Each duo that drops will be some additional points. Batman Booger backside of the zone. No builds, no problem. Jump shot 180. Nick Jaw eats that one to the jaw. Tug splashes on the backside of the zone. He's going to Peter Parker his way all the way over, but not quite in. Just finds a gap, but the gap is then blown up as still on high ground. Arkham and Epic Whale raining down shots on the rest of the lobby, and Old Man Melton is helping out a little bit as we swing on over to Jelty and Krizix.
They are hopping up leaderboards as well, like that armored wall placement for them as well. Look at Epic Whale and Arkham, though. They went from 6th place to 3rd place, just being on the high ground. Now is where they're going to find the eliminations. Unfortunately, that one may have gotten taken away. Epic Whale does find FJAA there. Elimination is going to come on through. Arkham is just finding Elam after Elam, shot after shot. Krizik's going to go down. Jelty not far after his raise, trying to clutch up Pars. Now will be the only one to do so. That's a big shot coming through there. Has no builds remaining, is just trying to stay live in the zone for as long as possible. Is going to find that elimination. No, is actually going to get it stolen away from Epic Whale up above. They're finding Elam after Elam, and all of a sudden, look at that, Sundown. They have made their way into 1st place overall, looking to try to seal the deal with more eliminations after 2 games. It is not a surprise. They are Arkham, they are Epic Whale, and they're looking phenomenal.
They have to close out this 2v2, though, to really put the cherry on top, and they do, as Elder and Statics fall, and we say, you can't open the door for them. You can't give them an opportunity. Man, you can't even put them in line because the second they get up front to it, they just kick it right on down. Match number 2, Epic Whale walking away. I think it was 11 eliminations in total coming out for them, or 10. Either way, it's going to rocket them up the leaderboard as we take a look at some of the match highlights here.
Batman Booga was doing a lot of work, though, putting it in, trying to get those placement points and Elam points. Ray's also trying to get involved, but again, it's Arkham. It's Epic Whale. Look at that. The denial there by shooting that, the web slinger there is actually going to cause that fall damage, and unfortunately, going down. That is a beautiful, amazing game from them. And again, they literally were given an inch. They were given the smallest of opportunities to take high ground. They did it.
And we talked about it, how teams necessarily aren't used to defending against that high ground take anymore, and it was really a pretty traditional one. They just 90'd up at the correct time and forced them back down. But that's 2 out of our 6 matches down. We're a third of the way through the competition. We're going to kick it back over to Panda, Tokata, and Kelly to show us what we might have missed.
Thank you so much, Sundown and Clay. And obviously, Arkham and Epic Whale grabbed their first VR of the day, and they did it in such a great way, Panda. That height steal is what you want to see.
Look, I can't take this away from them, right? They did an exceptional job here showcasing that classic Arkham Epic Whale playstyle. They play together, they play aggressive, and they play for endgame. These are all things that they did a very, very good job of here. And honestly, it worked out in their favor. I'm not surprised to see them here in these final moments, but it was these final moments that truly defined them and how they took that high ground. So beautifully taken here, climbing up, catching these other players off guard. And then after this, right, they get the high ground, they feel comfortable, and then here it is. They use the launch pad to go back down and just again, full control nonstop the whole time, Tokata.
They played it perfectly, Panda. From having eliminations, going into those moving zones, preparing themselves for this late game with enough materials, to playing the high ground retake correctly, to surviving the high ground contestation when they almost got knocked down, and then finishing it off for the victory royale. I mean, they played it by the book, and they played it perfectly, Panda.
Yeah, they definitely did. You even see there in the final moments, Arkham gets all the additional heals, right? You see the Chug Splash is picked up. He prepares just in case he has to do a heal off. He has to hold on, but it doesn't matter because Epic Whale gets those eliminations there with Arkham in the final moments and takes the VR.
But it's not even the final moments. A solo player, Shallow, who had 2 eliminations and was below threshold, compared to Epic Whale and Arkham, who had 0 eliminations and they were 1,000. Very competent throughout the entire competition. But of course, we also have to talk about Rays and Pars with 5 eliminations. Had a pretty good performance there, Takata.
They had a good performance, all right. And if they can maintain that consistency, I mean, we could see them at the top of this leaderboard. We've had 2 games played now. Epic and Arkham just took that last victory royale. Remember, 32 placement points for the victory royale, 3 points per elimination. So it's pretty elim heavy here if you're able to secure a good amount of eliminations during the late game.
Well, especially after seeing E22 and J Roses go down a little early, our first place spot is open for grabs. And is it going to be Arkham and Epic Whale? Well, let's find out, because we have our top 10 leaderboard right now, and it is indeed Arkham and Epic Whale now with 92 points, 12 eliminations, 1 VR, and still Batman, Booga, and Wheels in second place, Panda.
Not surprised whatsoever to see them there in second place. They're just priming Arkham and Epic Whale. They want them to feel confident here early on so they can then later take that top spot. But no, I'm kidding. So many great names here climbing up the leaderboard. Again, Beast, Tautai, another name we definitely need to talk about more. Krizix and Jelty. Now they're starting to climb up this leaderboard. Not necessarily the best game 1, but here they are in game number 2, showing why they deserve to be in the top 8.
Oof, making that comeback, right? Qualifying in the first qualifier, now back at it again in the second qualifier, round 3 in the top 10. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
I'm liking what I'm seeing too, and I'm sure our casters are as well. So before we jump into game number 3, let's toss it back to Clay and Sundown to see what they have to say.
Thank you so much, Kelly, Tokata, and Panda. And with 2 matches down, surprise, surprise, Clay, look who's on top.
You know, it wouldn't be West without them. I mean, it quite literally wouldn't be, right? I mean, we expect them to do well at this point, but not by a really big margin. Still within a victory royale of second place. So that bodes well for the rest of these 4 games because it means it's anybody's game. It's still, we're not having a runaway. We still got really good Fortnite to come, and that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, still 4 more matches to go. We're closing in on that halfway point. We're starting to get a good idea of what it's going to take, but don't forget what's on the line today. Top 8 is a trip directly through to the finals. After that, everyone is competing for series points to get the opportunity to play in Friday's semifinals to then get a shot to make it through to those finals. So there's a lot of pressure on these duos today.
Yeah, if you're able to make it right through finals, skip that entire week of semifinals, don't have to play, able to just practice your drop where you want to, that sounds good to me. I mean, I would take that. I would take that any day of the week.
Oh, absolutely. I would too. But what I'm going to take is game number 3 starting right now. And here we go, right off of the bat into match number 3. You can see bus path coming through, and we're going to swing right on over to Camp Cuddle. We've had a little bit of a contestation going down here. We can see Slick Nick on one side, Cypress and Mr. Locke on the other. Can the Flu duo end up pressing back forward? And right now, both these duos are struggling a little bit. Currently in 24th and 30th, as Zaze is actually going to get an insta-splode there onto Frappi and take him out.
Ooh. Quick healing there.
Right?
Frappe, one of the ones that we had in our pre-show. They usually don't. They are a menace with the shotgun, but unfortunately, when it comes to being contested, you can honestly throw the playbook out the window. There's not really much there you can do. If someone 50-50s your drop, if they land right on top of you, it's just going to come down to who had the better landing, who had that opportunity to grab the weapon first, and sometimes that's how it plays out.
Yeah, just being able to get your feet on the ground, kind of touch it down and be able to just spray shots out towards the opponent makes a huge difference. And if they can't get some heals to immediately offset it, things could potentially get weird. But again, we've talked about it so many times, how this season there really is an excess of heals on the map as long as you know where to look. Those coolers offering so many, there's shield barrels all over the place, and between the addition of the shield kegs, the goggle juice, the med mist, there's so many white heals that you're not really obligated to use the other heals until you're forced into it. However, an early fight might be a circumstance where that's the case.
We'll see. I'm surprised not that much contestation happening. It's the 2 teams here at the fuel wall. This is one of my favorite POIs to drop in, and it's one of the most plentiful when it comes to loot, especially when it comes to those web slingers. Offers you a lot, but a lot of players understanding that while yes, you can get a lot of loot here, it's not always worth being tested. As we see user get tagged up pretty hard, unfortunately. It looks like they have the shields to heal it up right away. As we swap over, we see Mags and Boston down against Wiz and Gooey Foo over in Condo Canyon. This is one of those POIs that we see a lot of players go to, but for me, it doesn't feel like one that is worth contesting.
So there's a lot of space over here, but again, things end up being a little awkward as soon as there is more than one team, particularly because rotations through this area, if you are rotating around the southern part of the map or doing a scavenger route, you're generally going to pass through there a little late, and you can end up getting bogged down, but that's generally ends up being the cases for a lot of POIs that tend to be towards the outside of the map where scavenger routes are possible. I don't think it's necessarily as much of a trap as some of the other ones where even if you are contested, you can almost comfortably split or at least get the loot you need and disengage and just kind of head straight up to be central. I personally dislike it. I think Condo Canyon and Bugle are one of my 2 weakest POIs. If I ever am going to land at a POI, I just really struggle to fight there.
It's definitely different, especially with Condo having so many spots that you can't really build in. There's a lot of awkward windows that, look really good, but unfortunately you can't build with them. Right there, like one of those stairs and those triangle walls that are just there. And Condo has a lot of those, so it's definitely one of those POIs that you have to know like the back of your hand to be able to realistically take an off-spawn engagement. There's a move over Logjam, a POI that a lot of players like to land around. It's a really good POI. You do get that initial that gain just by the amount of mats around. Look at Fallen trying to go in, trying to hit him with the harpoon, but what he didn't realize is that brick, once it takes about a second with the harpoon, you have to hit it twice, and unfortunately that's going to cost a lot of HP on both sides. Solon going to go down, Chris down to 14 HP. This has been a back and forth engagement. This time it looks like Chris and Wavy Jacob may be able to make the better of it, but look, all of a sudden up in the top left, it's going to be J Roses going down as well, and we've got a third party.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they were the ones who got the knock, so they're just hoping that this other duo is going to end up finishing it off. They'll get the 3 points and whatever Storm Surge damage they had there, and I'm really happy with that disengage. If you're able to get that and then immediately get out of dodge, somebody else absorbs the pressure you were just dealing with, bravo. That's plus 3 points. You get your Storm Surge, and you get to then rotate in front of these other duos as Prism finds a hefty shot there with a heavy shotgun, a great aim down sight. But then I'm going to break this down after the fact because he just missed 2 shots. He has no reason missing. So if you're not directly on top of somebody with the heavy shotgun, firing it without ADS, unless you're positioning your crosshair completely over the top of the character model, you're basically wasting a shot now as we're going to swing over to one of the other off-spawn fights here. As you can see, Scissor and Javier getting a nice little push on their side. Really good job closing down this fight early. Mags just getting separated off and then taking the 1v2, forcing the launch pad out, and I'm assuming, he's just going to gun him down here. Look at those shots. Brilliant there.
It's one of those seasons where if you take that launch pad, you gotta try to fly as low as you can, try to spin, try to dodge behind things, but it's one of those seasons where you just you just really can't. You can't afford. It's great though, right? And I think this is something me and you talk about specifically a lot, is resource denial. That's a great example of it, right? Use that launch pad so they don't get it. They don't get any opportunity for that loot. And look at that. Look at that Crow gonna give over an epic shotgun. Oh, it looks good.
Yeah, Kaka, they're happy about that one on the other side. The Raven turned out to be his friend there, not yelling nevermore. Instead, he's yelling, here you go. Just a gift from above and just dropping right down in a key spot. And it looks like maybe another potential fight going on here in Logjam. Doesn't seem like there was a resolution or another one end up coming through there. We're going to get another replay here in just a second to see what we missed there in that regard. And J Rose is taking a fight over at Covert Canyon. And this is when did he just not see him push up there?
I don't think he saw him. That is unfortunate. And no way, there was a team behind him as well. And I guess that is the duality of what is Covert Cavern. Is yes, you can get a lot of loot, but you got to be really careful.
And right now, why is that on the ground? Are they just leaving that? It seems like they're like trying to pick what they end up wanting to take with them, but that's not something. Again, we talk about resource denial. Don't just leave that out in the open. At least toss a wooden cone over the top of it. Don't let somebody come by and be like, "Oh, a free shield fish." Like, why give somebody rotating behind you 50 HP? It's not like nobody's going to find that. It's right on the edge of zone. It's just weird to me when you're at this level. Like, go chuck it in a corner somewhere. You can throw fish.
Yeah, and it's like hiding those extra minis in a bush, right? Like we said just moments ago, it's literally resource denial. And at this level, you would expect to see more of it, but I feel like we don't really see a lot of players do that. We don't see, even then, right? Like, let's say you have that ability to pick up those gauntlets and you have an extra one there. Great shots here by Nico. You can use the extra gauntlets while you're just chilling in your POI if you're not rotating out, to get rid of them, to not allow another player to have them. There's a lot of opportunity here, and I like this setup from Nico. I like that they're sneaking around, but they've got to be careful. They're in a spot that a lot of players are going to rotate.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the bottom right-hand corner of the map. You already saw one duo rotate past on the other side. You can see that Scissor getting himself a decent amount of space over on the side, making sure he's getting up on the utility, but they have a chance now. You can see putting up hard mats between him and the opponent, segmenting him off, but there's one of those other duos. There's the other one of those other duos, and Nico eats a couple of his shots for his trouble, and without an extra big pot now, pushing into this becomes a little bit more risky.
We move over to the Daily Bugle as they've gotten zone. We're going very east, though. This is one of our first eastmost zones, so they'll have a good angle on the entire rest of the lobby, but I mean, let's be real. This is why you land at the Daily Bugle. Look at the loot that they've got. A legendary MK7, that shotgun. And interestingly enough, I like this prioritization of the chug splashes over the web slingers.
Yeah, being able to just stack those chug splashes and being able to just chuck them down whenever you feel like there's any kind of trade. Also see Epic Pistol being rocked by Pars. Again, ridiculous first shot accuracy rate. And you can see if he's able to get a line, especially if you crouch, which will also reduce that first shot accuracy timer reset, you can basically spam it out with perfect accuracy the entire time. And when it comes to damage fall off, the pistol is actually a little bit more damage efficient than the MK7 once you get to the max range situation. I know that sounds a little bonkers, but that is the case as we see somebody else also opting into that 100 Thieves Arkham, rocking one there in his 5th slot.
I really like seeing it. Again, we're big fans of the pistol, and it's unconventional, but it works. Arkham confident in his ability to get the damage off with that SMG and have that as a backup for the swap if it's needed. But one thing we've always noticed with Arkham and Epic Well, they'll give Arkham usually the more laser-focused weapon, right? Whether it be that Ranger assault rifle or the pistol, because they know his pinpoint accuracy when it comes to long shots is really, really good. So they can rely on him for Storm Surge. And with the pistol, you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's generally Arkham ends up getting the stronger surge weapon in, I don't want to say 9 circumstances out of 10, but maybe like 7 out of 10, right? It's not like Epic Whale is a slouch to the weapon as we get our surge warning on the right-hand side. 141 below is the first number we will see, which means the team who is lowest towards the bottom, the team who's done the least amount of damage, will need to do that. When we get the update, we see Favs and Snacky currently sitting 192 above, so they're relatively comfortable. They don't need to open up anything. They can sit inside their fully built metal and brick and be relatively happy, but it seems like that's not the case. They're actually just starting to spray and going forward. They're in the tall grass and they don't care about it, not worried about any raptors there. Instead, they're the ones who are doing a little bit of hunting.
Gotta be careful, though. They're gonna come out of nowhere, and they are potent. It's like Ghosty looking for that aggressive move. Unfortunately for them, they had a wall in front. They would have been able to see Fabs looking through that cone if they didn't have that wall, but because they wanted that protection, they unfortunately won't be able to see it. And I'll be real. I'm expecting Kaz and Snacky rather to kind of go aggressive on this, right? I mean, they're definitely a duo that could do it, but I kind of wanted them to.
Right side of the screen now swinging on over to the veterans themselves. Landjock and Punisher trying to get themselves above Surge. A couple tags there from Landjock. A couple more tags from Punisher. Gets them from 94 to just 11 below, which means one more tag, a headshot there. Landjock going to be more than happy to trade that out for keeping himself up there. And you see, there's no threat. Like nobody carries sniper rifles this late into the game. So you can kind of hang out there. And because the MK7 does have such aggressive damage fall off, even though he got dinked, what, like 4 or 5 times there, or like 3 times plus a headshot, all it takes is a big pot and a mini, or a couple minis and a big pot, and he's right back up there. And that's going to be plenty worth until you're still below Storm Surge. He needed to keep trading out the damage there, because now, like, they have to find targets. Luckily for them, if they look directly to north, there's 2 duos who are holding each other, and they should just look to get involved in that hard.
He's dropping the med mist for that SMG, which we know, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to look at that engagement, looks to find more elimination, as Snacky is going to get eliminations. They did end up going aggressive. Those armored walls, doesn't look like it's going to save Taltai from much. Beast trying to help them out. They've got a lot of builds, but they don't have a lot of space. Beast down to 20 HP, trying to build on out, but it looks like Landjock and Punisher are going to find that, as Snacky does go aggressive on a Ghosty who was right next to them. So good to see that that didn't end up playing out. They should now be above 285. They should be chilling, and now can go back for that med mist for Punisher if they want to use it now.
Yeah, and you can see they're just trying to sort out a little bit of a yog to get to the next zone. It's not too far, right? But it's still, given where the terrain is, the one team in the bottom right-hand corner, that kind of tannish triangles towards the top of the map, who are right on that right side hill of the Bugle Crest, they're basically just get to decide who passes and who doesn't. They can rain shots down, and they have a great sight line now. You can see Remy is solo on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side there, we got Yumi and his duo who are below Surge right now and just trying to use those very, very valuable chili chug splashes to offset it and then to head towards the zone, as only 2 people need to fall. But I mean, things are going to get weird here. They're taking a lot of damage, and Egerton is actually going to end up going down here with one more attack. How good is your chili chug splash aim from downtown? Call him Aaron Rodgers, the MVP. He drilled him with it, and then Surge turns off. 1 HP in a dream, but possibly the most valuable utility resource being burned there just as a saving grace.
That was beautiful. That's what you want to see. That's the throw that, you know, you can't ever practice that. That's not something that you could do in any sort of scrim. You just kind of have to hope and pray. Look at that HP and look at this angle. You're going to see it hit that HP just in time. You actually don't even see it hit, because the moment that it hits is the moment Storm Surge goes off. So it was a millisecond of perfection. He had no room for error.
That's just when you tell your teammate, help! Here's a live listening to their comms. Help! Throw a chug splash on me. Anything, please. Help. No, never mind. I'm good. Good job. It's just like, that's the moment, right? Like, just going through this. I promise you, Egerton was just begging and screaming, but we'll see what ends up happening now in the next circumstance, as we're going to swing on over the 6X themselves. 100 Thieves, Arkham, Energy, Epic Whale. They're just smack dab right in the center of zone again. Fourth zone dropping right on top of them. Only a short hop, skip, and a jump to the outside edge. However, this time they have a duo sitting directly above them.
And this is where they are so good at. This is why they're some of the top team, right? And we saw this way back in the day. I mean, all the way back in Europe with Airwax, when he was kind of the first pioneer of going straight for center zone, setting up and just looking for all the tags. He was kind of the first one to really push that type of gameplay forward, really dominate that style, and they are a really good proponent of it still. They are great at doing it. And now you're seeing that they're even better at finding more Storm Surge tags along the way, so they don't have to worry about that. As Batman Buka, they get a lot of ammo over from Wheels. And again, they're second place. They're still, again, this competition is wide open for anybody to really take the lead. Yes, Arkham and Epic Whale do have it, but it's not by much, so they're in a great spot.
I mean, 90 plus points isn't insignificant after 2 games. That's definitely well above the average pace. So if they're able to keep it up, I'd say they probably have one of those 8 spots unlocked. And again, it's not about only taking first here. There's no money on the line directly today, but a top 8 spot guarantees you a chance to compete in the money in the finals. So that's really what everyone is looking for. 1 and 8th all get the exact same ticket. So keep an eye in the top left-hand corner. You can see Kruger actually ends up getting a knock. I said Kruger knocked Salty, which was his teammate there. So interested to see kind of what happens there. Looks like he ended up getting cleaned up immediately. So fortunately, my caster's curse in terms of prediction looking like it's continued here. But Zuko and Igor Obama getting a good line on their opponents, but they are below Surge right now, Clay. And need to start raining down shots. That damage is going to end up coming through here in about 30 more seconds, and we still need 6 more duos to fall. They're trying to get box to box and end up putting the pressure on it. They will end up finding Barterista. Will they find the second one? Is that enough to get him above Surge? It will, currently sitting at 52. Trying to make the right play in terms of what utility to take, but there's a little bit of hesitation. It looks like he might have accidentally left the Spider-Man gauntlets.
Oh, that's unfortunate. It's definitely something you want to keep, but I mean, swapping it out for Med Mist is not that bad. I mean, out of everything I could have picked up, I would have chosen that second. As unfortunately his teammate going to go down. Punisher going to get another knock, and hopefully it'll turn into elimination for them. As Wavy Jacob going to pick up 2 there, the Chug Splash duo, if you will, fortunately going to fall, but they made it into that half in, half out, 91 above. Look at that zone. They've got a launch pad, luckily for Zuko, so they should be able to make that rotation.
So he's got a launch pad, and he should know where all of that loot is over towards the side, and that loot also included 2 med kits and some Spider-Man gloves. So if he wants to dip back into the zone, he does have that option. However, I think he's probably just going to try and late rotate along the side because there's so many people packed in that if he times it right, he should be fine. We're going to swing back on over to Static here, who should not have been putting bad things into his name now. As you can see, Batman Booga on the left-hand part of your screen, 100 Thieves Arkham in the bottom right-hand corner. He's just getting a hop, skip, and a jump, burning tons of metal, almost the entirety of his metal to actually rotate into the zone. He doesn't have a single metal build left, but they're saying, hey, this is worth it. As you can tell, Arkham is then just, or Epic Whale is immediately going to split it over and give him half left.
He dropped his pistol. He's rocking double SMG. I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out because, again, this season, out of any, this is one of the seasons where you can do it. It does provide you with a lot of damage output, and even on high ground, with where they want to be, he'll be fine. And watch, he's just going to swap over to another SMG. They don't really have the ability to. It's like having another player there. It's essentially like having a trio because you can swap so quickly and get that damage out so well. But if they get into a close quarters combat situation, will he be able to still put out the same amount of damage he would if he had a shotgun?
The answer is yes. The dual stinger SMGs put out a lot of DPS, especially when you're as accurate as Arkham and you don't end up having the downtime. The drawback ends up being the amount of light ammo you burn through, but assuming that Epic Whale is then the one holding the shotgun and the MK7, then you can just kind of gift over all his light ammo, and that's why Arkham is currently sitting on 500 plus. But I also think Epic Whale might have been rocking the stinger because it seemed like they just had 3 pressuring on the wall there, so we'll see what ends up happening. So swinging back on over. Zuko solo as Igor Obama has left office. He's off retired now in the side. Maybe he'll come back later on to do a little bit more in the later games, but as of now, it is all on the solo player. But Rays and Pars, I don't think we've talked enough about them. They've been putting up numbers so far, Clef.
They have, and we always see it in third place now. All of a sudden, now 76 points coming through for them. They do have one elimination. They're setting themselves up well. Their loadout looks great, and oh, that's going to be another elimination right there. Look at the aim from Rays going through. They barely may be able to make it out of zone, but you're right. Rays and Pars playing well together, and that's what matters the most. It doesn't matter if you're popping off, showing all these performances. As long as you're playing well together as a duo, that's what matters. As Arkham and Epic Whale try to go for high ground, but get shut down for right now, but who's to say they don't try to take it here momentarily?
Yeah, they still have 2 more peppers, at least on Arkham. They'll probably look to split those here in a second when they have the ability to get them, and then they'll look to go again. As you can see on the wide right now, Bumboy, his duo Kizin up on the high ground trying to battle with UA and Chicken, and that battle right now, Bumboy is doing a good job to hold position, but immediately as soon as they establish high ground, it says nope, just kidding, we're gonna go down the hill. Batman Booga sliding down the hill on the right side, looking like an action movie star, immediately catching up to the front side of the zone, going to box up a metal and about face in the top right hand corner. Still have Arkham and Epic Whale trying to work together along the backside of the zone. They're dropping down a little bit from height, trying to get wall to wall and put some shots in, but so far not necessarily finding success. There's that Stinger SMG swap. Arkham ends up getting white tags, but can't quite chase it down and has to reload both. And in that time, Pulsar Chip says time to turn the table. Epic Whale ends up going down. Arkham now left without a shotgun in a situation where he has to use the attrition weapons, and he goes down 15th place for the 6X. But I believe they were able to just barely push into the triple digits now. You can see bottom right-hand corner, we got Batman Booga and Wheels, top right, Rays and Pars, and we got some breathing room at the top of the table now.
And it looks like high ground finally looking to be challenged. Jelty gonna hold it out there. Batman Booga gonna find an elimination on the other side, finding Landruck. Now 3 eliminations, he's so good. Seems to operate as a solo, yet always near his duo. Doesn't matter if his duo is right on top of him or on the sides. He's finding these solo eliminations. That's what you want to be able to do, but they don't have a lot of white HP. Zone going back will give them a little bit of reprieve. Jelty at the high ground until all of a sudden no match remaining. Trey on the other side. Jelty trying to make something happen. Will use the web slingers to try to get over. They will still have high ground, but with no builds remaining, there's not really
Up we go, he says, but not necessarily finding anything. Trying to find an angle, gets the 37 tag, then about face on the right-hand side. Still got Batman Booga and Wheels running on the low ground, but they too very low on mats, trying to find old builds, trying to find edits. Jelty on the backside of the zone. Med Mist to try and top off the HP, but that's going to be the very last of his utility once he burns through that, so not going to be able to negate the zone. Zooming back in on Batman Booga, trying to find whatever shots he can. Wheels staying hip to hip with him as we're into our top 10, with Zeno picking up Chip on the side. You can see, just trying to continue pickaxing forward, finding a space, trying to work back towards the zone, finding a solo, but the solo instead now is going to be Batman Booga. His Wheels goes down 96, that's a white tag, but he can't find a reset with no builds. He tries to put one on the floor, and there's try and work forward. 4 more elims for our number 3 team, but it's all going to be on Pars, who's stuck on the backside of the zone with only a 5-tick med miss, no more extra utility. Take him down at this range, making sure everything's reloaded as he gives it one more go, hoping to find a pick, hoping to find a target as the team continues just ramping on high ground above him, looking back to the backside of the zone. He knows there's a solo there. He should have been able to identify that player, but instead he gets ripped apart, and we have our top 5 with Jelty and Krizix just raining shots down from above.
How they went from no materials on the high ground to be able to keep it for the entirety of most of the moving zone to now with 10 eliminations looking to pick up the victory royale. It's a 2v2v1 there on the low ground. They're trying to make something happen now. 2v2. Krizix is going to pick up Wale. They don't have the materials, and as I say that, Delta's going to find a tree, farm it back up. They have taken the number 1 spot as well, moving up to 111 total points. 11 eliminations. If they secure this, would be 13 total points, which would break that record for the most points that we've seen in a game, at least on West. I believe it was just for game number 1, but still, they're doing so well. And again, I'll remind you, they had 0 builds at one point, so they had to use the web slingers to just try to be able to keep high ground as they're getting dropped down. Bump Boy gonna go down. That's a nice shot. Delty will get the other one as well. They work hand in hand to pick up that 13th elimination.
Vamos, Jelty, Krizix. 13 eliminations in the victory royale here in match number 3 puts them well into that top 8 conversation and sets them up to go into this back set of 3 games. Honestly, looking to enter tournament management mode. Now they just need to hold on, make one more solid late game, and they should be able to put it all together.
And I'm definitely going to have to see how they did it, right? How they went from that 6-7 zone with 0 materials to maintaining it throughout the entirety of those last zones. That is a long time to be on high ground with no one contesting you, no one looking up, and 0 builds. That's a really big feat to accomplish.
Yeah, I would say probably what ended up happening there was a refresh and then maybe using those gauntlets to kind of harpoon up some of the loot. But who can give us a little bit more insight other than Panda, Tokata, and Kelly? Break it down as we head in the back half of games.
Thank you so much, Sundown and Clay. Once again, 3 games down, 3 more to go here. And Takata, I'm sure you're feeling so good right now with Krizix and Jelty getting the new record for NA West for the most amount of points earned in a single game.
You know, I'm feeling hyped, Kelly. I mean, they could have done that yesterday when I had them as my prediction, but I mean, I'll take it in the second qualifier here when we have Jelty and Krizix on the high ground. You can see how dominant they are here, securing elimination after elimination, but also making a good use of those Spider-Man web shooters, which almost works like a harpoon. You can fish up those materials with the Spider-Man web shooters, but also use it as a mobility item. So they're getting perfect use of that, holding the high ground and just getting that victory royale with 13 eliminations. I mean, they are setting themselves up for that qualify.
And it was absolutely incredible. Panda, anything else to add about this team?
No, I mean, look, this is the performance we were looking for just 2 days ago when we were in Qualifier 1, right? We were expecting them to do a little bit better, especially coming off the Streamer Bowl like we saw. And now they're here showcasing, again, why they deserve to be here, why they deserve a spot in the finals, because this is the Jelty and Krizix we know. This is these great players. They know how to handle these high-pressure situations, and they show us here in that game.
Well, that might have been Takata's pick 2 days ago, but Panda, your pick today, Wheels and Batman Booga, kind of went down. I believe it was in the top 10 there. Didn't have as good as a performance as earlier, but still doing a great job.
Absolutely, and it's really important to mention that Batman Booga and Wheels, they have this consistency motto amongst them, right? This is what they want. They are not necessarily overextending early and mid game. They're doing a good job of making it to the end game and getting all of their eliminations in these moments, and boy, are they getting some eliminations.
They are doing it perfectly, Panda. I mean, you had it down from the start, from the first qualifier. You want Batman Booga and Wheels to pop off because you know they can do it, and they're demonstrating that right now.
And as we pull up our top 10 leaderboard right now, I have to give another shout out to Pars. I think that we're really not talking enough about this team right here, having an incredible solo run right now with 4 eliminations and still holding up in our top 4 spot. But of course, Krizix and Jelty jumping all the way up to first place, stealing it away from Arkham and Epic Whale.
Yeah, well, with 71 points in one game, it makes a lot of sense why they were able to climb so far up this leaderboard. But again, Arkham, Epic Whale, despite not having the best game number 3, still find themselves in that second place spot, meaning that, you know what, that consistency is just enough to work for them to stay in these top slots.
I mean, 2nd to 4th place right now is very close, but we need to take a look at 8th place because you need to get top 8 to qualify to grand finals. Right now, with 64 points being the cutoff, it's looking pretty rough.
Also, I do want to give a shout out that the top 3 teams right now, although Takata, it was your prediction 2 days ago, all of our predictions are up there. So, you know, this is more of what we were expecting to see. Qualifier 1 was a bit of a unique situation. A lot of the NA West teams, all the same teams, tend to always make it into our top 50. So this is more what I was expecting going into the first season of Chapter 3 here. But Panda, let's talk about some other teams that we haven't really talked about too much right now. What other teams are standing out to you?
I don't know. You know, I want to say Landjock and Punisher, right? They do good to get into the in-game portion of everything, but they're just not capitalizing on it. So the second half of these games, it's their opportunity to come and shine.
Oh, looks like we have the beep, everyone. The second half of games are about to begin right now.
Thank you so much, Kelly, Panda, and Tokata. 3 matches down, 3 left to go. 8 spots up for grabs, and right now, with their match 3 victory, Jelty and Krizix sit atop the throne. But the average points needed so far to have that 8th place spot is right around 21 points, Clay, and we know that's kind of crept up. So just keeping an eye on how many points some of these teams are gaining per game.
What a game. I mean, that's a good way to go in the back half of the games, is move over to Chunk or Speedway. Gonna keep our eyes on Lime and Chip as Frappe is going to fall. I actually no, it looked like they got knocked to an explosive, I believe is what happened. So I'll be intrigued to see exactly what took them down, as Lime is going to get hit from the side. We'll find these coolers to heal back up to full HP and more. Should be fine.
Yeah, you just always generally, if you take any amount of chip damage, just pop a guzzle juice. It'll top you right back off the start. Don't want to use the chug splashes on anything but shields early on, and generally you also want to be able to at least grab a pair of minis and then toss them down, which looks like Aguilar and Co might have potentially missed out on right there. They're going to have another set of chug splashes. We'll want to group up, kind of get those down, then probably start the push. They got all they need to go. However, on the other side, we haven't necessarily seen what Lime and his duo are sitting on. So once they have this max shield, it'd be interesting to see if they decide to go. It looks like that is the case.
They're going to get spotted out, though, by Lime. And, oh, just look at the damage that they take compared to what they put on to Lime. That was a good turnaround sort of damage coming through as a lump. Looks to take that big shield up as Nico going to get 2 elims back-to-back quick and efficient there, as PSR is trying to get away, is going to bounce their way on up using those tires. It looks like Aguilar going in, getting aggressive, is going to get that knock, will force Lime to try to make something happen, but sniper shot not going to connect.
Yeah, comes whistling by there, but just hits a build errantly, and not going to be too much of a problem here. As you can see, trying to hop in the whip and skirt around, but the wheels have been shot out, and the car actually ends up... No, did it pop? It looks like it might have popped, and they got him. Yeah, it did. Aguilar ends up getting... Alamp is going to end up walking over and make sure he gets those excess builds, but the 203 boys coming out ahead there.
As we swap over to another 203 pairing of Boston and Mags, we see 2-2 in the feed, unfortunately going to fall. What an interesting set of games for them. They really got to start to make a comeback. If J Roses isn't up right now currently, they have to reevaluate again. They they're landing at that covert cavern. That's, again, so contested. They have to be careful. And there it is. Jay Rose is going to fall.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a look into that fight here in just a second. But Zuko doing his best to end up being promoted to Fire Lord on that side, as we're going to swing on over to the other 203 fight here on this side. And what a great shot there from Boston to be able to push right on in and clean it up.
I'm a little insult to injury as well. Hitting him with the emote on top of that as we move over. We get to see Zuko and Hero Obama, who have moved up into 7th place. And they've got that Volt key card. They should be able to get all the loot. And I think this is what we wanted. Yep, that replay coming through of Jay Roses. And unfortunately going down. Oh, look at that tracking from Zuko was beautiful.
So you were looking at the tracking. I was looking at his movement. The way he crouched on the backside of the cone and then walked back up it while maintaining the right hand the whole time. He only ended up winning that trade by 2 extra Stinger SMG bullets there. So just doing the smallest of things to give himself the advantage. And of course, that big pump shot as he went through help, but they're going to get access to that vault. So we're going to get access to the fight over on the other side. And Benji and Monkey are going to get access to the lobby as they're sent back to it. And they'll be joining all of you wherever you're watching. And thank you for tuning in. This is qualifier number 2 of the FNCS for Chapter 3, Season 1. My name's Sundown, joined by Clay Stelling. And whether you are watching on Twitch, YouTube, Legends Landing, watch.fortnite.com, over at your friend's house, however you're tuning in, during one of the viewing parties, whatever it is, thanks for hanging with us. It's been some amazing Fortnite so far. What is assuredly going to be a clown fiesta of a semifinals.
And I just want to say, Legends Landing, shout out to those people watching in particular, because it's amazing in there. You know, we got to take a look at it, and it's so fun. And oh, look at Buzzo. Unfortunately, may be going down here, trying to get a little piece of that Volt action, but they're able to disengage and get out. But I don't think they're quite done. They've got them kind of trapped. You have to go one way in. You got that one way out, but usually most players don't end up taking it there. Buzzo will go back to the shield kick, heal back up. But Zuko and Ego Obama are definitely not the team you want to push inside the vault with how they've been playing their aggressive style. Buzzo is, without his teammate, has to be very careful about that. But back to Legends Landing, it's so beautiful. There's so many awesome things you can do. The fact that you can box fight while also watching competitive Fortnite so you can get better in multiple different ways is just amazing.
Yeah, shout out to everyone who ended up working on it. Got to give a shout out to my boy Tekko, who put in a ton of work in that, as well as Immature Gamer and Enigma, some of the builders over on Catalyst who just did an amazing job. Everyone internally who made it turn out well. But right now, we're going to swing on over to my prediction. They've been on a tough end of the stick recently, Courier and Salty, and it looks like, unfortunately, the end of the stick is not getting any softer as they just get beat over the head with it once again. That's Summy. And I don't even remotely know how to pronounce it. Dusan Vlahovic. It's actually funny because Dusan was one of my goalie coaches when I played soccer back in the day. So I do know how to say that.
Oh, interesting. And I'm intrigued. They're going to leave those 6 strike flashes there? But they better not. At least throw them down. At least well, I mean, zone's here, so it's not that big that they leave them behind. But, I mean, there were 6 strike flashes, and somebody's not full HP, so definitely think could have used it there, but we'll rotate out. We'll be able to get into zone. Back over to Covert Cavern here. Buzzo and Evol. They're really some of that extra loot.
Yeah, they want to try and get in there and get a little bit of the leftovers there. I'm like, I knew that name ended up looking familiar. That's actually just a professional European footballer. So, Dusan, I am upset you are not wearing the Juventus outfit in this circumstance. Like, if you're going to commit to the cosplay, go all the way in, make it a part of your brand, be like the Cactus Man, and go all the way through as we're going to hop on board. Somebody's looking to try and go all the way through and pick up some of just the scavenger part. That's the thing we've talked about in areas like this. We've seen it, whether it was Catty Corner, whether it was Stark Industry. When there is a POI with such high loot density, it doesn't matter when you pass through it. There's always something in there, whether it's excess minis like that, or excess metal that you might need to farm, or just a couple of excess slurp barrels that you need to top off your shields. There's always something there. However, that generally means that other people are always kind of going to come by and just kind of poke their head in and see what's going on over here, guys.
And with how many ammo boxes are in there as well, right? It doesn't matter if It's just a little bit out of your rotate path. If you need anything, like you said, it's always worth it. It is always worth it to go through there to try to find something. And if there's other players there as well, you can get some storm surge tag, you can get some eliminations. And I like that Jelty is using what's around him, not wasting that shield mushroom there. Will use it. And I kind of like the saving of the big shield here because they know they're going to take more damage. So might as well save it now and get that. It's a little bit min-maxy, but get that 9 extra HP as mags. And Boston are going to find Wiz on the backside. They take the L. And Wiz, unfortunately, will go back to the lobby to try to play again in the last couple games. But Jelty and Krizix, they're setting themselves up well. They look like they're in a really good spot for the zone. They've got rotation. It's everything they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not aware of G2 Jelty, FS Krizix, one, where have you been? What game have you been watching? But two, they are just two of the more dominant in the Spanish-speaking community when it comes to that, the Spanish-speaking South America community, playing on NA West. And Jelty has been around from the very beginning, playing in all the way back to the Pro-Ams, back in the World Cup days, coming very close to qualifying himself. And he's the epitome of a professional, one of the most watched streamers, too, if you end up going and wanting to check out some of his gameplay. Again, almost all of the communications are in Spanish, but it's fantastic to watch. And one of the ways where I get like my very minimal intake of Spanish speaking these days, and I just enjoy watching them so much. But somebody else who I've enjoyed watching so far, Prism and Hound, trying to take these fights. They've done a good job in terms of being aggressive, but they just haven't found the closeouts they need, Clay.
And they're looking to find it here, but no. Hound going to fall, actually, yeah, going to fall down there. They do get a trade elimination, but look at Fultzy. They are miles away in what is competitive Fortnite. They can't really afford to go for that. Yes, there's that 5-minute reboot timer, but that zone's pretty far. They don't really have the heals to do so. Prism, Hound going to be there for a little bit. It's just best for Fultzy to go away, and that's what the risk you run, right? You're split dropping on these scavenger routes. You're going to run into somebody, and if they find an opportunity, they're going to get you.
So far away too on that split route. Like, that is forever away. I think one of the things that people don't consider enough in competitive Fortnite as a whole, whether it's playing arena and trying to camp on the outside of the map or in bushes so you avoid fights like me, or at the very highest levels, is committing to sightlines. Once you drop down off of one of those highest sightlines and you're on the coast, that's it. Period. If somebody is over on the side and they see you moving, if they see something that isn't normally there, you are just completely out in the open. You talk about a fish out of water. Well, in this circumstance, you're basically a fish in the water with a huge neon sign around you. But right now, Epic Well and Arkham are looking for as many neon signs around them to just continue pushing that Storm Surge ticker up on their side. But with being 313 above, they don't have a whole lot to worry about.
No, they're chilling. Especially in this next zone where the zone will more likely pull over them as well. They set themselves up well. Strappe finally able to get back in the action, gets a knock there, and will find the elimination as we see on the bottom left. Jelty and Krizix, though, only 14 above. Bottom right, only 11 above for Batman, Booga, and Wheels. They've also really got to make it work, and now Jelty's below.
And again, if you're wondering what we're talking about, that is that Storm Surge threshold on the right-hand side. It keeps updating. You're wondering why that's updating. It tracks how much damage each duo has done in the lobby. The teams who have done the least amount of damage and the ones who are below the threshold, once the third zone closes, which happens in 33 seconds, will start taking 25 damage every 5 seconds until we hit a certain number of players remaining. In the third zone, that number of players is 70. In the fifth zone, that number of players is 50. In the seventh zone, that number of players is 30. So right now, we would be looking at 7 duos who would be taking that 25 damage every 5 seconds. So there is going to be a big spurt of action and a bunch of people eliminated starting right about in the next 5 seconds or so.
32 below for Batman, Booga, and Wheels. Now 6 above. It's a back and forth battle. Right now, you really want to be about 150, and that's when you're chilling. And it's like whoever is spraying at them really needs that. It looks like it's going to be Vanilla as the spray from Batman, Booga preemptively will get them some more damage, but still only 34 above it, which may be enough. But look at the damage Wheels taken, and these are very valuable to be using right now. They have to because they took too much damage, but now with that team coming in, being aggressive. They've got to be careful with this.
I don't think they had to burn the chug splashes there. Like, they have plenty of big pots in that regard. Those chili chug splashes are super valuable, especially considering they have to rotate over water, and that base move speed added to the boost while you're doing the dolphin dive in the water is so big. But right now we're going to swing back on over to our current leaders as they're only 82 above, and there's still, when we're doing, as I say that, we actually get full eliminations over on the World Cup and Kit Cup. So the Storm Surge will turn off, and everyone who made it past will breathe a sigh of relief. We're not quite to the first placement thresholds yet either, as that will occur at 35 duos remaining. So still just elimination points going down, but those are worth +3 a pair. So plenty of points being taken off the table. But right now my eyes are on this kind of awkward little staring match going on here, and actually just going to hop in the whip and get out of dodge.
They got to be careful with that, though. It's already smoking. That more damage coming through could mean that they take unnecessary damage, and looks like they will continue to commit to it, but already down to about a third. Jelty's really going to have to hop out, and I'm glad they did. As well, Krizix is actually just coasting on through. Jelty will take the brunt of the damage, but this is an awkward spot, because if you're the first to rotate, you're going to take this ridiculous amount of damage. But if you're too late to rotate, you're going to get caught with Zone, Buzzo, and Evol, put them in a really good spot. Can they capitalize? Can they take out the first place team? Jelty spending almost half of his metal just to get out, just to make sure that they are good. But Krizix is very low. That fire is burning. They have to be careful. They're singling him out. Oh, Buzzo just places the ramp right when he could have gone for the spray. Not able to capitalize on it, but Jelty taking damage from elsewhere. A bad situation.
Yeah, Jelty taking plenty of chip. They do still have the peppers, though, and honestly, I would have liked a little bit more of a decisive action right at the start of the fight. It seemed like they're debating getting in the car, then they weren't going to get in the car, and now they want to rotate late. And because of this now, you can't go just across the water. If they had just committed to the peppers, committed to the car, ended up driving out as far as they can, and then hopped, they might have ended up being in a better situation. Now, you're forcibly stuck behind this duo who is aware that you're there. They've been holding you the whole time, and this is the team who's right on the border. They need these elims, and you might not even get a chance. You're going to have to pop peppers for HP here, and that's only going to get you an extra 3 storm ticks. He has to find elimination. He's trying to find a line on Buzzo. 2 more seconds. Bye-bye, Jelty. Storm ticks him over. Buzzo and Evolve are going to end up getting that, but not a ton of excess of HP there, and we're going to now fly over to some of the replays that we missed from that Storm Surge action right as we saw Evolve actually go down. So here's FJAA with Salvo on his side. FJAA going to end up finding that one, and Foltzy just taking way too much damage over on the side out in the open, and I mean, he wasn't long for this lobby anyway.
No, 216 below. That looks like this player right here, 160, just tries to hop in, and this is Buzzo's perspective of taking down Krizix and Jelty. What a big moment there for them, taking him out of the game. That opens it up. Third, second, fourth, all have the opportunity to now close that gap and even take that distance away, put Jelty and Krizix in a spot where if everybody below them as well does great, they then are worried. They're going into that 5th game wondering, oh my God, wait a minute, hold on. We need to start to get our footing underneath us. They got to be careful about that. But Epic Whale, Arkham looking good, Wheels, Batman, Puka looking good, and Rays and Pars the same as well.
I love how you say immediately Epic Whale looking good, and then right after that he hits body shot, headshot. Yeah, he's looking good. That's for sure. Some more shots being sprayed out, but they're also very central here, and you can see the team boxing up in metal immediately next to him, drawing fire on their side. They're trying to see if they can get an angle to potentially add fire there. Good job connecting those brick walls to kind of deny the ability, and it's going to give them an angle to just hard spray on this wall, where if they do end up getting eliminations, it's very hard to end up defensively fighting this. But Epic Whale over peaks a little bit there. Once he had the wall replaced, I would have loved to have seen him just back up and reset, kind of catch those guys off guard, but instead staying out there on a disadvantageous peak. He was on the left hand where his opponent had the right hand. He was able to push him down, but they don't. Russo was able to stick that med kit. If they had gone before that, they would have had a huge advantage, but they have to know that Arkham's right on the other side of the wall. They definitely heard him drop down, and as they begin committing the chug splashes, they're going to back up from that fight. Very smart there. As you can see, Coaxy and Static on your right-hand side below Storm Surge, which is potentially going to tick on there. 4 duos will end up taking that damage, and that's going to turn on in just 15 seconds.
38 below. Can they find? Gonna play around the other side of the wall, but They have the pressure to get in. I don't see Stingers on the other side. The shots will come through. They don't need the pressure on the walls. When they're going to find that solo, and GGEZ will be saying just that. But look, when you go aggressive onto someone this late in the zone, they're going to find you. And unfortunately, user will go down. And their teammate just says, you know what, I'm sorry, but zone is more important. And that's it at the end of the day. Sometimes you have to wait a minute. They're going to find him, maybe able to get the pickup here.
Somebody who needs a little bit of a pick-me-up, but he'd prefer it in the form of white HP is Batman Boogie. You can see his teammate does have some more of those chili chug splashes, waiting for him to pop all the shields first. So nice little bit of min-maxing here. Coexy back up on his feet, has a med kit as well. So good play over on the other side from Static to be able to work together and make sure they're both up and healthy. And no chug splash is actually committed to Batman Boogie, so it looks like they're going to wait for this rotation then to potentially use it. I believe they were Holy One. I might have ended up being mistaken here, as they're going to look through that cone and try and see, yep, nope, boom. Wheels does have one. Going to pop the chili chug splash. Good call. To get a little bit of extra HP on Batman Booga, and then hop, skip, and a jump, try and head their way to zone. Maybe try and pick somebody off on the backside of his wheel. Continually checking his left-hand side. He sees he has a teammate to his right, tries to spray some shots towards Punisher, but rightly just going to rotate past and onto these former builds. He doesn't want to use any of his own builds to get into these tunnels, as he knows he's only down to 22, 23, going to wall off his back. They have to go forward because there's a team directly behind him as well. That chili chug splash effect is also going to run out in about 10 more seconds, so they need to find a little bit of space. It seems like they're just right on the edge of that zone, but they want to try and go for it. They're trying to get the edit down. They're trying to knock their opponent. The bottom right-hand corner. We still have Pars, and Pars is sitting on 4 elims. What did this kid ate his Wheaties this morning?
Where did he find those elims at? Right? Yeah, where? Because I genuinely would want to see that. I definitely want to keep our eye on that. And maybe, obviously, we can get an analyst package or something coming through.
Look at the zone.
That's where?
Yeah, but look at the zone, Clay. There is not a single soul remotely close inside. Everybody was packed in to just the southern hemisphere. And Pars and Rays, they didn't even build till they were all the way on the edge, and now they get priority for nothing. And this is our duo, who is all the way at the top. Now that we're in the cascading placement points, they are going to pass Jelty and Physics. It's just a matter of time. We're into the top 25, so every single duo that drops is +1 point. However, 8 duos potentially going to be pressured by Storm Surge. With this being the later zone, players are going to start dropping like flies, though, heading towards that magnet. As you see, Snacky actually ends up picking a dub. That's on the Landjock and Punisher. Left side of the screen, you got Wheels and Batman Booger. Right side of the screen, you got Vanillas and Wale just trying to use those mythic web slingers to catch up to his teammate. We're going to swing on board with him as they are 7 below the surge, and the pressure is mounting.
Shots come through. They're going to be above 47 now. Should be good. 11 players need to fall. Great rotation here, but look at high ground. They've got a beam on them. They've got the angle. They're going to have to use these web slingers to get out of there. They got to do it well. They got to do it perfectly, and they do. Arkham Epic Whale at the front of zone. Vanilla's going to be right actually above them as we move over to Wheels and Batman Booga. Once again, low on white HP here. Not sure where they're taking that damage from, but oh no, they're going to get shot from behind. They got to be careful about that. Batman Booga, though, putting the damage down, but it wasn't enough. Wheels and them will both fall, leaving the door wide open for a lot of teams near the top, including Arkham and Epic Whale.
And you saw those God Rays come down on top of Pars. That means their duo has taken over first place. They have passed Jelty and Krizux, but we're going to swing on over to the current third place duo, Epic Will and Arkham. This is a situation you see them in all the time. They're on basically the 3rd or 4th from low, but they're all the way towards the front side of the zone, and they're going to take a hard angle to try and cut off and get hard mats in people's faces. This allows them to then about face and turn around. Bottom right-hand side of the screen, we got Pars and Rays, who have just been putting on a clinic, and Pars doing a great job of just opening up on the backside and spraying shots away. Rays doing a good job of making sure he covers, keeping on Epic Whale in the top right-hand. They're also onto 380 limbs, and again, we talk about them over-indexing on heals. Plenty of chug splashes, has the flopper in play as well as we close in on our top 10.
And Epic Whale was able to find 3 players worth of loot at the bottom, able to get all the way up to maximum mats, puts that armored wall down as well for Arkham so they can get back up. This is beautiful. This is why they play so well, because even though they're separated for a little bit, they can operate independently and not have it be an issue, get back together and be fine. Up into 2nd place now. They're looking to try to make something happen. They're low ground v low ground. Pars and Rays there as well. They are going to meet. They are going to collide. Who's going to get the a shot first? Who's going to get that initial engagement? Because they're right on the other side from each other. And we're going through a spot where they're going to have to break their way on through right into Arkham and Epic Whale. Will they be paying attention? Will they be able to find it? And that is going to be the key as we have a massive battle for high ground going over. One of the first there, as charge flashes will be used by Arkham and Epic Whale on the low ground. Looks like Cars and Rays have decided to go up a layer, get out of this low ground, but just look at how many materials they have somehow.
Still so many materials and still 14 worth of metal for Arkham. He also still has one of those armored walls if he needs to be able to just slap that down and provide a little bit of cover, which is what he's doing for Epic Whale right now, just covering him and putting the shots down there. You're first and second on top of each other in 8th and 11th, and they hit a rift. We went over one of the outposts and the rift come through, and Par says, well, high ground's gonna be mine. He's just gonna pop the glider. Nobody's gonna expect him dropping down directly on top of him. So the question is, where is it? They're both up there. So we're gonna get a nice little drop. 8th place, they're coming down. You can see the dive happening for Pars. Firelord Zuko on the low ground, continuing his own individual run as Epic Whale ends up taking it down. But no, Matt, how do you get down from here? You do have the one Mythic Spider-Man. You don't have to get down because the zone bounces directly back over the top. Raze begins platforming his way down, but Salvo ends up picking it up. Pars says, hey, wait for me. He wants to join the party. Heads straight down, but he heads to the backside of the zone. He's able to get the shot, but he's not able to find the second. FJA knocks him down. He cuts it apart, and it's all going to be on Raze to work from the top down as Zuko finds yet another individual Elam. What is Zuko doing?
I don't know, but Arkham and Epic Whale look to put a stop to that as they, again, second place. They're finding, they're still on 4 eliminations, finding the room to work with. They've got a med. This is kind of back and forth, neck and neck. Rays still up, still using that med mist to try to get back in. It's going to be a 2v1v1, and oh, that's him gone. That's going to be Arkham. No, it's going to be Zuko out of nowhere getting the elimination. Brought his team up to 3rd place with 10 eliminations. It doesn't matter at this point if he goes down to Arkham and Epic Whale picking the victory. Congratulations, 10.
All right, so second victory royale for Energy Epic Whale and 100 Thieves Arkham. Congratulations, you're gonna book a spot through the finals. Everyone knew you would be there, but stealing. If Obama is retired, it doesn't matter where he's chilling. Zuko has been 100% promoted to Fire Lord. Might as well just give him Avatar level powers at this point, because 10 individual Elams and all of those Elams in the feed. Obama went down ridiculously early, and now I just desperately want to see what that leaderboard looks like, because we have seen so many different exchanges, so many amazing individual efforts. But in West, one thing is always consistent, Clay, and Epic Whale and Arkham will find their way to the top of the table.
They will. And I'll say another thing's consistent. Solo clutches. That seems to be West is saying all the time. Solo pop-offs. Out of nowhere, Zuko puts his team on his back, says we are getting to the finals, because remind you, top 8, that's directly a ticket to finals. You don't have to go through semifinals. So that leaderboard shaking up, I'm excited to see how it's gonna unfold.
Yeah, I don't think it's been but to show us what went down there, Kelly, Tokata, Panda, break it down.
Thank you so much, Sundown. And Clay, you are completely right. It's NA West, and solo clutches seem to be the name of the game right now. It did go to the way of Arkham and Epic Whale with that VR, but my goodness, Panda, Zuko absolutely dominating.
Yeah, I mean, to see 10 eliminations on him going into that final fight there with Epic Whale and Arkham, that is just insane to think about. Obviously, 10 eliminations as a duo, right, is great. But 10 eliminations by himself, just nutty.
I mean, Takata, for me, though, it looked like there was a moment where that was going to be Pars and Ray's game, and there was an incredible rift play there that I'm so excited that we got to watch.
That's what I love about Fortnite. You don't know what to expect. Them finding the rift on the map, the zone closing in a location that has rifts, and then Ray and his duo making use of that to get the high ground and secure even more placement points. I mean, that was impressive.
And Takata, I do want to talk about something that you got very excited for during the game, was a double pick play. So we're going to pull that up right now, and I just want you to break it down for me, because it was something that we don't normally see in Fortnite.
I haven't seen a play like that in a while. We saw Static and his duo make use of a double pickaxe, and it almost like they had a harpoon. You can see how quickly that wall was broken instantly. They pickaxed at the same time, 3, 2, 1. Comms were on point and were able to secure a refresh by timing it so well. You can do that with a harpoon as well, like I was saying, but if you don't have access to that and you have your duo partner beside, you see that wooden wall, jump right in the box, get that elimination.
Well, I know that you guys in chat want to see our standings, and I know Sundown does as well, because it seems like a lot of our top 4 teams keep going down early. So who is in top? Well, with 2VR, Whale, 155 points, but only 8 points separate them from Pars and Rays with that incredible Rift play. And of course, Zuko and E-Girl Obama jumping up to 3rd place, Panda.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at this top 8, and it's really, really solid, but everything's still up in the air, right? That was only game 4, so a couple more games yet to still be played. So, look, anything goes here in these games. We all know this at home. This top 10, while it looks good now, can easily shift here within the next few.
Oh, it's going to change up quickly there, Panda. We also saw Snacky making it to that top 10 a lot of... making to that top 10 a lot of names I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, with only 2 more games to go, this is where things get really scary. They want to be in the top 8. They want to make it to the finals. And you know what? Let's actually jump into game 5 and head on over to our casters.
Voy para allá semana que viene. Voy para allá a romperlo. Para allá.
Thank you so much, Kelly Panda and Tokata. 4 games down, 2 left to go. And I feel pretty comfortable saying our top 2 teams have basically booked themselves a spot, with them 3rd and 4th not too far behind them from really punching a ticket. After that, though, there's about 5 or 6 teams who are right on top of each other, Clay.
And they're fighting for that 8th place and above. I think we're going to have to hop into game number 5, which means after this, we only have 1 more game to go. I am so ready for it.
And with that, there's the bus. Let's hop into the game. Just 2 matches left to go. We'll get a look at where the bus ends up heading through. The question is, though, who's going to be able to step up? Will we see those individual efforts that are so defining of West, or will we continue to just see the dominating run from the 6X?
Back over to Chonkers we'll go. We know there's action afoot here. Looks like another split coming through. Chip not taking any damage this time around. Doesn't have to use any of those guzzle juices. As I say that, Aguilar is going to find him. They've cut each other off. Lime, though, will get a lob, so it could be a 1-for-1 trade if Aguilar is quick enough. But he's got to get in. He's got to find Chip, because Lime's coming over very, very quickly.
Yeah, Chip, Lime. Sorry, I just instantly seeing that, I'm like, oh, I love when duos names end up going through. There's nothing better than some Lime Chips going through there. Maybe add a little salsa in, but the salsa so far has been their gameplay. It's been a little spicy on and off. At first, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad, and then immediately after, you're like, not so sure. They're right in the running, but they'll need to kind of kick it up another notch if they want to keep running it out.
Oh, yeah.
Aguilar's not able to get that reboot card right away. So, already chipping down that time, and oh, no, they're going to find him. Lime not hitting the shot, so he does have that heavy shot.
Sígame en Twitch, Ricardo, sígame en Twitch, ahí está el link, sígame todos a Twitch, voy para allá la semana que viene, sígame en Twitch.
Hold it down and get those shots, and luckily Remy didn't really actually miss that many, so he didn't have to spray and pray, but good eliminations coming through. That's good Storm Surge, and it's quick, so you don't have to worry about it. This is that angle that Lime ended up having. Look at that. Shots came through, and just beautiful.
I thought for a second there he was about to edit him down with the quick stare edit there, because I think a stare under that ramp would have been it. We haven't seen those actually, the cylindrical stairs on the ramp edits in forever, but could have been a nice little technique. Didn't need it. As we say, somebody who needs a nice little technique, Frappi just gets blitzed right there. Didn't even get a chance. And Hound and Prism trying to throw some shots over there, as Vanillas and Wale are one of those 6 teams that we talked about are pretty much right in contention on that bubble, right on top of each other, currently sitting at 102 points.
Frappe has not been having a good set of games. Hasn't really found his identity as a player for their drops. If you take a look here, this is Vanillas chopping him on down, and this is the perspective of that elimination coming through. Can't really do much when that shotgun's right in your face. Not an opportunity to react as Vanillas will disengage. They don't have a lot of builds, but there's no one around them on this side. They do have to make quite a trick if they want to go. And back over to Zuko and E-Girl Obama. They've kind of started dominating Covert Cavern. We saw Jay Roses get it game number 1, but after that, it's been over to Zuko and E-Girl Obama. And this is where they're starting their eliminations at. This is where they're getting them. And if they get control of that vault, it's just going to be scary.
Yeah, and again, Zuko in the last match set the record for most individual eliminations so far with 10 going through. He has 14 elims so far in the games. He had 3 in another one and then 1 going through. So really been the backbone of this team so far. However, just getting into that circumstance and picking up those hero points is really what you need to do in a duo circumstance. We talk about the ability you kind of get to clutch, where as in a trio situation, 1v3 doesn't really matter what weapons you have. They're trying to pick up those extra points just becomes that much more impressive. Well, when you end up in a duo situation, that's when you see some of the most absurd clutches in Fortnite history. And I think Zuko potentially had one there on that run. So we're going to swing over to another team who's right in that kind of 4th to 9th bubble range. It's JFT Wheels and Batman Booga.
I'll be intrigued to see how they perform this game, knowing that they do have that opportunity to drop out, right? I mean, going into game 6, it's a little bit different of a mindset, but game 5, you're sitting in this mindset of, okay, so we played really well, but we still aren't where we want to be. We still have this opportunity to fall out of the top.
I mean, they're in 5th. That's where you want to be right now. And I would also say when we talk about like kind of that bubble, looking again more specifically at the leaderboard to kind of set the stage for you guys, right? They're sitting at 118 points, which is kind of in the secure range, right? We look at 1st and 2nd, who are at 155 and 147. They're nearly already there. Just a couple more points should be able to comfortably push them in. After that, we then have Zuko and Digital, or aka E-Girl Obama, and then Krizix Jelty, and then Batman Booga and Wheels, who are at 125, 122, and 118. After that, there's a 13-point drop to Fruit and Tiny, and then you have 4 teams who are all right on top of each other, 105, 99, 95, 95 for those last 4 slots. So need to be conscious of kind of those other teams who are right around you. But as long as these guys are able to make one more end game, they should be good.
Zuko and E-Girl Obama, who you did say is Digital, trying to do that, and I gotta say, I gotta commend Digital for committing to it as well, right? I mean, he committed to a very interesting name and stuck with it. It seems like, I think he's had this name for a little while. So, sticking to it, building that up. But really, I would love to go back and examine that performance from Zuko, because he had 6 elims as a solo, securing 29 points, jumping from 11th to 2nd, which is absolutely ridiculous as a solo. That solo impact score must have been phenomenal there for them. They've decided, you know what, hey, this is enough. We're going to rotate out. We're going to focus on the rest of our game. Because surprisingly, they didn't get the Volt this time. They are lacking in materials, and I want to keep our eyes on them and how they play this, because the last couple games, they've relied on that Volt to kind of catapult them ahead.
Yeah, it's ended up making a huge difference on their side, but now they're starting to kind of enter tournament management mode. Is now I'm going to swing over to replay here for Pumps and for Clouds, and just trying to rain the shots in, diving down into the box and finding some great shots here, cleaning up Poyo and his duo.
Rocky Real is one of these POIs that I feel like gives that nostalgia for a lot of players, but it's one of those ones where contesting it is just not worth it. It's you can split it a little bit, but it doesn't really have that same feel as splitting a Tilted Towers or splitting a Sleepy Sound, right? Sleepy Sound naturally designed to be split, but looks like Salvo and FJAA don't want that to happen, as Trey taking down very low the damage from FJAA and Salvo, just too much to overcome, it seems like, for now. A bubble team that has to perform. They have to.
Yeah, they're right there trying to put some pressure right now, currently sitting on 95 points. Again, there's a team who is right on top of them, sitting in 9th on 95. So they own the tiebreaker right now, but it's getting close. And with the zone pulling very far north, they really need to be finding tags on these duos who are around them.
This is one of those interesting splits as well because of the lighthouse there. You've got a lot to back up on. You've got a lot of loot to grab as well. I'm interested to see how they rotate out.
Right now, hopping on board here, Coexy and User over in the side of the zone, but plenty of fish, plenty of excess utility. They should be able to give these heals out and figure something out, no problem.
Yeah, obviously we know first zone, it's not going to be that detrimental going through. If you're in zone for a while, the sloppers should be able to keep them up. They can find campfires. They can find med kits like right there, as we see. Coex will be able to pop that med kit and be just fine on that rotation. They can swim as well, up that momentum and that movement speed. As we move over, we see Hound trying to get away from Fallen Prism and Fallen Faulty there. As again, a reminder, for everyone that's not within that quote-unquote striking distance, there's still a big game to be played with series points. Because yes, it is about the top 8 that go through for finals. That top 8, there's still a lot of players that'll go through the semifinals after that. So a lot of these players are playing for those series points as well as trying to make a miracle run happen. If they can get up into that top 9, that's going to secure them a lot of series points, which more than likely will secure them a qualification for that qualification in the semifinals.
Yeah, it's all about the series points and just trying to get yourself an opportunity to play more Fortnite, because if you don't make the semifinals, your FNCS is over.
Good shots coming through, but none really connecting, and they're going for it. They want the sea lemon. They can deny a lot to Hound here, but look at that. The web slinger going to come out. It's going to put them in a good spot. Really investing all of the web slingers to try to go for this elimination. Has to be careful here. Is not going to see him. Should know that they're in the bush. Doesn't hear him swinging around. Should look around and see, hey, there's no one here. Probably going to be in this bush. We'll see him probably get that elimination in the feed here. Fabs on the other side of the wall, trying to get this player down. That is 1 HP, and both of them getting away just barely. Remy able to sneak away, as well as Beast. They're not able to get through, and it's because Snacky wasn't right there with them. But oh no, that's just going to be the FPC coming on through. Snacky getting healed up there on the bubble as well. This is the team right behind. So we were talking about 76 points.
Yeah, on the outside looking in, but they're on a decent gap between the rest of the team. So we kind of talked about that pace. Well, there's a 19-point gap coming into this match between 9th and 10th. So need to be making up a decent amount of space here.
Wheels and Booga. Batman Booga, that is. Considering how they've been playing, I was going to say, be surprised to be below, are going to be 128 damage above. Now dropping below is Epic Whale going to pick up an elimination of the feed. They set themselves up well. Inside of zone, they've got those chili check flashes that they've had every single match. I'm liking that they're not using them on Batman Booga right now, because he could find a big shield or use a big shield there on rotation. They're dropping below Surge, though. 100 now. If they keep staying here, they may, but considering how the lobby's going, 74 players, they really don't need to worry about it. Now 92. It'll be more of a worry for next Storm Surge, where they'll have to pay attention to it. But overall, set themselves up really well for this game. Inside a zone, on a high ground position. Didn't have to use a lot of mats. Still got a lot of heals in their inventory as well. So I'm looking great. It's looking great overall.
It definitely is. And you know what? You may be wondering, this isn't Sundown. It's actually Panda. Because my boys Wheels and Batman Booga are on the screen, I decided to cut in and come hang out with Clay for a little bit while this is all happening, because so much is happening here with this team. You see them doing a great job staying above Surge here, getting a really nice high position to do so. But then you got players like Zuko and Euro Obama. They're in that top 3 spot, and they're just trying to rotate. They're trying to make something happen here, despite other teams being pretty close by in a much more advantageous position.
And they're below, Panda. If you take a look, 5 damage below. Not consequential, right? Not insurmountable, but with only 3 players that are going to be below. Oh, technically 4 if another duo is, right? That's going to be hard. There's no one around them. They don't have the ability to find this damage. They're just going to have to take it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They definitely are going to have to take it. Something's going to have to happen here because that damage is not just going to change. And sure enough, though, it actually does. One of those players that was above actually has now gone down. So that means Eagle, Obama, Zuko, they're in a comfortable spot. Surge is no longer up and running, but they still need to get those tags. Despite Surge not being active right now, that doesn't mean they won't need it for later. So that's why you see them actually utilizing some of these weapons here to try and get some shots in. Nothing really connecting though, but surprising on Zuko's part to carry the sniper rifle. We haven't seen too much action coming from the sniper this chapter so far, but it looks like that's about to change.
That's a very intriguing point. Is he gonna hit it? No, that's definitely one. If they were doing that one-shot headshot, if it hit, you'd put it all over your social media. You brag about that one. But Eagle Obama gonna go down pretty low. All of a sudden down to 1 HP on Zuko. Eagle Obama as well down pretty low. Can they get out? They got the chug splashes. Or do they have the builds there? Did they put an armored wall up to save them? It looks like no. They just had enough builds. FJAA and Salvo took too much damage from a third party to keep pushing. That would have been a very big moment, Panda, because that is 7th versus 3rd place. There's no better way to secure yourself into that top 8 than to take out the ones in front of you. Whew.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, looking at this too, with how this format has played out, we've watched this leaderboard shift every single game because it is just that close, and one game makes that big of an impact, especially for players like Jelty and Krizix. Again, they had a 71-point game earlier, launching them up the leaderboard, and ever since, now they've been able to hold on to a top 8 spot, but if they're not careful and they're not consistent, they could end up falling early. Speaking of teams falling early, it's teams against Krizix and Jelty getting taken out there, and it's actually Beast going down there to Krizix, and that's why you got to be careful. You got to be careful, especially when Jelty and Krizix are in the area.
And you know that I think that's one of the most unfortunate things about when you're on the edge of zone and you're getting sprayed out. Is because you're just everyone's looking at you, right? And in contrast as well, it would have been really unfortunate for Krizix and Jelty if they not got that elimination, right? You see it put all that damage down as a duo, and then someone else just says, "Oh, you know what? I'll take that elimination." As Eagle Obama they get very aggressive. Looks like Zuko going to fall down as Eagle Obama going down really low, 35 HP and a dream. They've got 2 armored walls. They can use it if they want to heal up, but the pressure coming in from a third party may be enough to take down Eagle Obama. They may go back into retirement here for just now. Would not be beneficial, just barely able to keep the pressure out. Going to get that big shield up, barely 110 effective HP, 61 builds. Still not using those armored walls. You've got to think maybe it could have saved them a little bit. That sniper rifle in hand, can they put the damage down? Have they withstood it for now? It looks like no. As I say that, as I was about to take that breath, Girl Obama gonna get pushed, but a big shot coming through that heavy, and doesn't matter. E22 right there on the other side will take them down. That is a big elimination.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's so unfortunate to see for them, especially after the last game they just had, right? They climbed that leaderboard from that huge game there, and unfortunately now they find themselves going down here really early in this one. However, a team that has not gone down and does not look to be going down, Batman, Booga, and Wheels, getting shots off and getting eliminations here. This is so key to their game plan, right? We talked about their positioning being on par, right? Being at the top, getting a nice high ground spot, but this is why. Because they're able to get not only those surge tags, but the easy eliminations on players trying to rotate behind.
And honestly, that's one of the best feelings is when you're spraying at someone through the air and you get that last tag and you get the elimination. You see how the loot fall out as they push them back to the lobby. It's satisfying. And you know these players, they do it all the time. I think Wheels posted a clip on Twitter earlier, one of their qualification rounds of them just beaming people out of the air early on.
Yeah.
And look, we talk about E22 doing well, but unfortunately going to fall to FJAA, and I think that's just a byproduct of a lot of these players not rotating early enough there. But just letting everyone know, no former FNCS champ has ever won a game when Panda was casting.
What a stat there. That is definitely interesting. But you know what, Clay? I've gotten to hang out with you for a little bit, so I'm going to actually toss it back over to you. You guys are doing such a great job, and then I'm heading back to the desk.
He just wanted to secure that win for Batman Booga and Wheels. He wanted to see it, you know, hey, again, it was 4 reference chance champs, so maybe Arkham, Epic Whale, get that dub now. The Panda has swapped back out, but we got Sundown.
Thank you so much, Panda, for filling in. I appreciate you coming and covering. You know, things got a little too exciting there, so just had to like calm myself down, make sure, because the action on West has really been just so intense right now. We can see these teams all battling pretty much for those last 3 or 4 spots right on top of each other. And right now, Malay and Vanilla is our team right on that cusp, currently sitting in 7th place.
23 below. They haven't had that great of a start, but really hammering it home here in the last games. With 23 below, they're going to have to hit their shots. Unfortunately, Vanilla's is not, but ooh, what a good usage of the shield keg. This will effectively negate any damage that they're taking from Storm Surge while they're getting the ability to look. But again, it's the same situation where there's only one other person / duo now that's going to be below, and now it's just 2 players there for Vanillas and Wale, and we've got C Winter there on the other side. 172 below, just trying to out-heal it. Really, they're trying to out-heal his own when they're not getting any damage coming through. It looks like it's going to be them going down, but as we see, 1 player will fall. That's going to be Gosh getting taken down. Zay's going to be taken down as well.
You can see Storm Surge, just 1 more player will need to fall, and then it will turn off. And right now, that player currently being pressured by it is C Winter. With him being in the air, he's just hoping somebody else goes down, because there's nothing that he's going to be able to do to influence this. Just 3 more ticks of it will take him out. He does have the minis he's going to be able to pop to hopefully offset it, and boom, there he goes.
May offset the Storm Surge, but can't offset the SMG damage as C Winter will fall. That is unfortunate. They were making their way on up as Wale moved into 6th place now. Again, reminder, 3rd place did go down early on, and 3 eliminations here for Wale and Vanillas. I wonder how they're grabbing him. It looks like there was one right on top of them there. They're going to get a med miss there. Actually going to have 2 med miss there, and have that shield keg on top of them as Jelty going to get taken down very low, suddenly worrying.
Very worrying. Again, we talked about them just needing to make it into endgame. Well, with 25 duos having been passed, they've gotten a couple rounds of placement points, but only the 1 elimination. 131 is pretty good, but not 100% there. As you can see, Batman Booga, bottom left-hand corner, he's on that individual effort. Can he pull the Zuko, and will he be able to reach that Firelord status right now? While they try to do the same, a great trade out onto Landjockey. He might have actually bought just enough time to keep Vanillas up.
That was beautiful. A great turnaround shot with that heavy shot that will keep them up. And in a desperate... You'll more than likely be pushed out of the top 8 if they were to go down now. Medmiss going to be used. They got to go. They don't have time to really look for any loot. Looking for a launch pad. Is it going to be clear above them? Doesn't look like it. A lot of time in zone there on Wale. Will be able to get in. Vanilla's, just barely as well.
5 HP in a dream. The question is, will it turn into a nightmare? So far, the answer is no. I'm pretty sure Wale has a med miss as well. They're going to go for the second launch pad, and I saw a flick of blue. But again, don't forget, you get just 1 second of grace period in the zone before that 10 damage comes through, and Vanilla has used every bit of that 1 second. His Batman Booga on the right-hand side, sliding and gliding. I was directly actually on top of Vanilla's box, trying to find a harpoon, trying to find something for a little bit of space. Instead, going to opt to use a decent amount of the last of his metal to just keep gathering placement points. Jelty is down and out outside of the top 20, so points will continue to be racked up. Pars and Ray, 2nd place, just trying to continue running. The Arkham still up on his feet as well on that middle target. You can see him there with the God Rays coming down. Krizik's in the bottom right-hand part of your screen. Will get the knock, but he needs to be able to get the siphon, and he can't find it. That's 3 points that just go to the wayside. Batman Booga also falling in the top right part of your screen. We got Tiny, who's currently sitting in 6th, is trying to eke out some placement points as well, with no builds and barely a tick of health. The amount of solo clutches that need to come through here from Tiny, it has to be
just monumental. He can't take a tick of zone damage other than the initial grade.
He needs a refresh.
He's got to find something. He has to find anything on the backside. Vanillas and Wale still somehow able to make it in and make something happen. Evol will go down FJAA as well. This is our 5th place team currently, as Tiny does end up going down there to zone. Unfortunately, not able to make it in. And as you said, Arkham and Epic Well did move into 1st place, but Pars right there in 2nd, still in this game. Buzzo, 8th place, has to try to get as many points as they can here. Is going to slide down the mountain, but doesn't want to go down too far because they have no match. A good stop there for them.
A great stop as soon as they were able to cancel momentum, because it keeps building here. They do have a tree if they want to opt to hit it, but instead just deciding to remain incognito. You see the zone, they get a little bit of bounce back, a little bit of room to breathe. Finds a wall, finds a space, 98, but can't get the follow-up. The swap isn't 100% there. Wale still trying to run through Vanillas, only at 1 HP. Wale just holding down that left click, trying to find any form of a shot, but instead has his pickaxe out, does find the one shot, will find the second, gets the much-needed siphon, but now he needs to find the zone as Vanillas ends up getting just a little bit of space as well. He ends up going down. We'll go back over to Wale as sitting on 4 eliminations, trying to continue pushing, but he will go down. 10 players remaining, and it looks like we only maybe have 1 or 2 full duos. Yes, Chip and Lime being one, trying to continue forward, push themselves into the top 8. Actually, excuse me, they're already in 7th, doing everything to try and get themselves set up, but up on the high ground with a change in elevation coming as Zeno, but no more builds, Clay.
He's got nothing really to work with other than those Spider-Man gauntlets. Lime shooting him down, and that's all damage, taking him out. Arkham and Epic Well trying to work on the low ground, but it looks like they're going to get taken down. At least one of them there. No, they're still both up. Very low HP, getting eliminations. This is great, but a great performance from Lime and Chip on the high ground. 6 eliminations on the side of Lime. This is great. No builds remaining. They build over to where they need to. They do have that Spider-Man gauntlet on one person, but Lime has to just try to stay up in the zone. Now has to drop down to try to cause some disruption. SMG gonna come through. Will he find Epic Well? Yes, he will. Will he find Arkham? No, that's the question. No, Arkham gonna find him. Chip trying to get in, but Arkham has so much more HP. They pick up Victory Royale number 3 and secure themselves that ticket right on through to the finals.
The 3rd Victory Royale coming through for the 6-time champion. There might be 100 thieves, but it only took 1 to steal away the Victory Royale as Arkham rips victory from the jaws of defeat for Lime and Chip, taking the 1v2 in a really convincing fashion. But it's not to discredit what Poster Chip and IGL Lime were able to do in that match, pushing themselves pretty comfortably into the top 8 with 1 match left to play. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, Clay. Whether you're 1st or 8th, your ticket will read the same when all is said and done, and they want to see themselves in the finals.
And what a game to move yourself into the top 8. Right? Set up that game number 6 where you can just coast, play your game, get your elimination. So well done from Lime and Chips, who went from fighting off spot and having a very hard time being contested to dominating with, again, no materials, almost taking down arguably the best duo in NA West. So big props to them for that 2nd place there.
Almost being the key word, but with 1 game left to play, we're going to set the stage. Kelly, Panda, Tokata, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sundown and Clay there. And once again, it is Arkham and Epic Whale that grabbed their 3rd VR of the day. I mean, Panda, all they had to do was make it out of round 2.
Yeah, I guess they just had to make it to this point to showcase some of that talent that they have. You know, it's this new duo, like, you know, I don't know too much about them, but they seem to be doing well today.
You know, Takata, I think we actually had some new players kind of showcasing their ability in that last game that we haven't been able to see. Zeno, absolutely incredible solo run on the height there.
Yeah, Zeno did an incredible job there on the high ground, showing kind of how powerful it can be even as a solo. If you don't have a duo up and you're trying to make your way through the mid to the low ground as a solo, it can get very dangerous. You can get yourself into 1v2 situations, which are hard to overcome. But if you're on the high ground, they might mistake you for a duo and not even contest you.
Well, speaking about the high ground, we had Lime and Chip, of course, performing really well. It actually looked like they were going to be able to take down Arkham and Epic Whale when they dropped down to the low ground. I think they actually took one of them down. But let's take a closer look at that team, Panda.
Yeah, look, they had great loadouts. They had great positioning here, getting these eliminations early on, but it was those final moments. You actually see Lime run out of material there, getting right here. And as soon as Lime ran out of material, it was a bit of a struggle point. Fortunately for him, he does drop down here and take out Epic Whale, but it's not without Arkham just coming back and completely eliminating him.
Yeah, there were some great plays there. Another play that we saw from Wale and Vanilla, or less so of a play, but more of just a general play style that we got to see Takata. A great performance from them as well.
Yeah, let's check them out here. We have Vanillas and Wally here. You can see, get into a little mobile action on top of that vehicle there, going straight into the box, getting it aggressive. Actually, Vanilla went down, and Wally there was able to clutch it up in a 1v2, getting pushed by another team and still coming out on top, making use of that shield keg in the engagement. Vanilla goes down again, but Wally is there to clutch it up, getting a knock and getting the second elimination against another duo there. That is 2 times now where Wally was able to get that 1v2 situation clutched up, using a launch pad here to rotate into zone as well. I mean, it was a tough road here. It was not an easy game for them, and they still made it to that end game, and they still were able to secure a few placement points alongside those eliminations.
Yeah, and it definitely was an impactful game for them. That's why we actually see them in this moment finding themselves in 5th. But until we get that leaderboard, we won't know exactly where they ended up. But this was definitely the game they needed to climb far up that leaderboard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's just so many plays. I feel like this highlight reel is just all them right now. Absolutely crazy. I mean, there were just so many great plays that they had. And a note that I want to mention is that they actually are down 1 game compared to everyone else and still in the top 8 to showcase just how good they are. But where exactly do they sit on our top 10 leaderboard right now? Well, it looks like they move all the way up to 4th place from 7th from the last game there. But of course, Arkham and Epic Whale with 3 VRs now have 208 points. Pars and Reese doing a good job in 2nd, but pretty much 3rd through 8th right there, Takata, are so close. It's a 10-point difference.
Just like you were saying there, Kelly, it is very close on that cutoff range, but we are seeing domination from our champions, Arkham and Epic Whale. The 6x there, 133 placement points, but they're not just playing placement. 25 elims. That is a huge amount of points as well from eliminations. They're doing exactly what you have to do in this format. Get to the end game, get a good amount of placement, but do it aggressively and secure a good amount of eliminations at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this top 10, it's going to be close, right, for everybody that's under Arkham and Epic Whale. They have solidified such a solid point lead there that it's going to be tough for anybody to try and question or even take that lead from them. But for the players that are underneath, they're loading in now, and it's time for them to go.
I mean, just like Sundown was saying, that this is no longer about 1st through 8th. This is about getting to that 8th place spot. It doesn't matter if you're 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. All of these players, all these teams are going to move on to the finals. Everyone, that beep means that we have the final game of the day. Who is going to make it? Well, we're about to find out right now.
One more match in qualifier number 2 here for the FNCS Chapter 3 Season 1. We're over in NA West. Right now, on the outside looking in, Lime and Pulsar Chip got a little bit of work to do. Ignore that number 7 up for them in the bottom. They are on the outside looking in. Our top 8 has been relatively stable in there, and they got a little bit of work to do, Clay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, get another game like the last one we just saw. They secured their qualification all the way through to the finals. Aguilar and Alop looking, as you saw, 16th, now 17th place on the outside looking in again, and now 18th places. They're dropping as players are getting eliminations. For players that are not in contention for that top 8 right now, their goal, get as many series points as we can. Get as many points here to secure a good enough series points final placement. That way they can make it in the semifinals. Because if you go down too early now, unfortunately you are out for this FNCS and you can't make it in through those series points. You may be able to squeak it in, depending on how you did in qualifier number 1. But if you didn't make it in qualifier number 1 and you're not performing as well today, it's going to be hard. is really good. Surge points there for them. They got Daily Bugle to themselves now, can find everything. Is sniper shots coming through. Aguilar trying to get the damage off, but unfortunately he's only going to take damage himself. Javier and CZR will fall there to see Winter, and I believe they were pretty close as well.
Yeah, Chip and Lime have to win this fight. If they lose this fight, they're out. They're not out, but they'll be playing in the semifinals. They won't have a chance to contest for that top 8, but Chip can't move. He has 3 builds. Lime is nowhere close to him. He can't leave the safety of his builds right now, and this is what happens if you're a little bit undisciplined here. And as I say that, Chip says, surprise! I'm on the other end of that. He just handles his 1v2. He says, yeah, don't worry. Lime will end up coming in and just being the garnish on the top, but Chip was the one who did all of the work there, and we said, hey, you got to win that fight. Well, now they're sitting pretty on Storm Surge. That's 6 more points. We talked about how they needed to close that gap. It was a 13-point difference between them and Fruit and Tiny, and that's 6 points different. Make that gap 7 points now, Clay.
I'm flabbergasted. That was a beautiful shot, and unfortunately it came on the back of that. They're not pushing together as we move over to Razor here, as this is a good usage of that shield keg. Win that fight, just keep popping it, keep using it, and it's perfect because that enemy player is gonna think, oh, they got shield. Wait, no, I just have them. Wait, they have shield, and they're gonna get confused because it's constantly healing you up with that shield. So it's a perfect time to use it. We move over to Nico and them just to see what they got out of it. Again, even though they're in 34th now, they need to get more points so they can get that series points. That's what it's about. And for those that don't know, the better you place, the quicker you get to go in that first game, that first round. And you could possibly play all 3 rounds if you don't qualify there. Shots come through. Sharp is going to be able to take down one there with Gosh. They pick up an elimination on the other side here, nearby Condo Canyon. Nearby Condo Canyon.
I want to wait for this fight to resolve before I end up saying it, because I know it's a 1v2 going through. That combat shield keg was sick. He ended up winning the fight by 2 HP. I think he got 3 ticks of the shield keg coming through, which is his 15 HP bonus. But that's one of those little big brain min-maxing type things where I just look at it, I'm like, yeah, that was nice. It's seeing just like the little bit of innovation coming down in players using every little bit to try and get themselves further into the game to be able to keep playing Fortnite competitively this season. Of course, there's cash cups, but the FNCS is what really matters to players, as we see the aggression coming out. The 13th place team, Angel and Nigel, knowing that, like, hey, we got to put a little bit of gas in our tank right now. Like, we got to go. We just got to start getting these +3 for the elims. And right now, they're doing a good job of pressuring this opposing team. Chicken and Kaizen are really being pushed back.
Well, they find the angles, though, as Chicken is going to web slinger away, be able to get into the house, and this is where it becomes awkward for the team up above. You push into a house, you don't have any of the walls in, and Launchpad gonna come through. This is risky, especially this season, but Nigel wasn't reloaded. And Angel says, nope, I'm going after you. I want this elimination. They are chasing them down. Seems like this player trying to use these Spider-Man webs that are set up to get away in some form or fashion, and Angel says, nope, I've got him as well. I am coming for that elimination, and I don't know if they're going to be able to find it. Kaizen finds a vehicle and is out.
Just dipping, riding for the hills, saying, nope, I just want to try and extend this game out a little bit, which when every point matters, when you're just trying to get as many of those series points to get involved, I mean, it's not necessarily the worst play. I mean, I know I would run away too, as we see Kruger and Salty finally getting themselves up on the board. We talk about a little bit of too little, too late. That's definitely going to be them. But again, series points will matter. It's not just the top 8, because the way the semifinals works, the higher you are in the series leaderboard, the more of those games you end up getting to play. As we're going to take a look, some of the action we might have missed here. So we're overboard with Salty and Kruger already picking up a pair, but Kruger straight in the box with that Stinger SMG, immediately swapping over, making sure he gets the confirm going through, and then Salty being able to clean up Sharp here and just run him down.
And good usage of the web slingers as well. I feel like a lot of people will use them and then wait and hold on there, but if you're able to do that quick release there, gain so much momentum. And you saw it there. And I mean, they previously were first coming into today, into this round rather, and now sitting in 27th. Not where they wanted to be, but again, still in the opportunity where they can get enough series points to make it into semifinals. And that's what they're hunting for.
just trying to look to add in the points. They had a great round 2 with 7 matches. I believe they won 2 of the games and then had the best average placement just below on the elims. So part of the reason why I was keeping an eye on them, but somebody else we got to keep an eye on. Again, Zuko has had possibly the best individual performance of any other player so far today with that 110 elim match and being able to secure all those solo impact points. But now, again, they need just a couple more points here to really make sure they're going to get them. First round of placement points will be coming in with 1 more duo dropping. Storm Surge not going to be a problem here as we're having a much more aggressive game with just 72 players remaining. So 1 more duo going down will negate that being on the board. But right now, Zuko and Igor Obama looking for some shots here, and he wants to get aggressive on Disciples.
Don't know if they're going to be able to do so. This will be the first zone we will see without Storm Surge coming into play in that second zone. But that's how West plays, right? I mean, that's how a lot of reasons will play in this final zone, because they realize, hey, we got to get aggressive. And boom, there we go. That the stat backing me up is more players have been eliminated in the first zone than any other round 3 game this season.
And keep an eye on the top left and seeing if there's anybody who's in that kind of contention range who we need to keep an eye on who is dropping again. Don't forget, top 8 has a decent buffer, but somebody with a hero performance in this game could definitely slide in there if they're in kind of that top 15 area. We're going to take a look at some of the other action we missed around the map here in just a second, as you know, teams are really just posturing for position. There's a lot more space to move around on the map. Just swing on over. Here was Nico and Scissor in one of their fights over on the side, and a good down onto shallow there. You can see them immediately segment them off, make sure they grab all the resources, and then take their 1v2 on the Biz.
And there's just nothing you could do if you're Biz. You're literally against a rock in a hard place. And I don't think I've seen a better example in Fortnite than that. And unfortunately not able to do much. As we move to Salvo and FJAA, who have been kind of back and forth in their gameplay, but able to get in a 7th right now. They've got a shot at it. They've got to just keep playing well. They have no eliminations currently right now. Storm Surge is not going to affect them, so they don't have to worry about that until the half in, half out. But with where the zone pools, it's looking good for them. They've got no one in their way. They don't have to worry about this, like what this team at Coney does have to worry about.
And right now you can see Fruit trying to find a little bit of space, find a shot. I think this might be the first time we've actually seen a sniper really carried into the later parts of the game, and it might just be because they didn't have the ability to index in those chug splashes, or maybe they think that just one extra snipe could end up being the difference here. It's very rare you end up seeing players opt into it, but see if Fruit's able to throw one of those shots out there and end up connecting. They still hit like a truck, but now you can see on the right-hand side of the team, right on that border, needs to be careful about it. See Winter and Russo in the top left corner in the feed. GG East is going to pick up Arkham, who, again, 6x already qualified through, won 3 matches today. However, not going to feel great about that. Maybe they'll feel better. They can go get some extra rest and don't have to play out the last game here.
Good disengage here from C. Winter and Russo as they are able to back up just a little bit, but oh no, as I say that, the pressure going to come through. Those SMG is going to rain fire. They've got to be careful. Nico on the other side. That's going to be a lot of damage coming through. Can C. Winter put it down himself? No! They're both going to be eliminated there. Nico down. Not a lot of HP at all. Was sitting about 50 HP overall for that, and for a 1v2, that's looking good. And look at them suddenly sitting on 6 eliminations. If you're outside the top 20 right now, watch Nico and Cyrazor. This is how you have to play it.
Yeah, the talk about it, they're just pushing the pace right now, trying to do everything they can to rack up those series points. Top 8 definitely out of sight for them, but not potentially getting in an extra round of games during that semifinals. So plenty of things to be playing for. To see. And then Jock and Punisher rotating through in the background. We're going to swing on over. FJA, Daddy Salvo. Trying to find a little bit of space right now as they're sliding down the mountain. Heading central, trying to refarm just any of the extra metal in here. It looks like that's the only thing they're missing right now.
H2 falling. Vanilla's going down as well. Wale able to trade out that elimination, but now it's Wale versus J Roses. They were a team in contention. That is unfortunate there. Salvo going to take some damage from behind. They've got to be careful. This team has nothing to lose in the grand scheme at all. They just want serious points so they can go out swinging, but that team disengages. That box up was too quick. They don't want that engagement. Salvo and FJA saved themselves for just a little bit, but that could have been scary.
Potentially. They were all right, though, just hanging out. Doing totally fine. I think it was a little bit of a delayed reaction there from Salvo. A couple of shots sneaked through that didn't necessarily have to, but plenty of those extra mushrooms down there. There's going to be able to pop for 5 shield apiece. Also has a shield keg, but opting not to use it yet. Probably wants to save that for a circumstance in case they have to deal with the half in, half out, given that players did not kind of get a Storm Surge check-in. Honestly, Clyde, they might not even get one at the half zone with the pace this game is playing. 58 players left, and some of my arena games are a little more stacked than this on my climb.
Yeah, I don't know if we will, especially with how aggressive people are being on to Chip and Lime. They've got to be careful getting 8th place. If you go down now, you're just going to, it's just going to hurt as a exploding car going to come through line.
So they're not actually in 8th though, because as we've seen with that counter on the bottom left-hand corner, it's been very close. But if teams are tied, they will occupy the same spot going up there. So I know Salvo, FJA, and Fruit, as well as Zuko and Igor Obama, are all 1 point separating them through. So they're actually on the outside looking in. They were the team we talked about at the start of the game who was 13 points away. However, they've already picked up 6 of those to close the gap a little bit. So as you can see, they're only 7 points behind 120 to the 127 of FJ and Salvo. And we can also assume that Tiny and Fruit are right around the same one with just the 2 placement points ticking over. Everything's going to get very interesting once we get in the top 25 and those placement points really start ticking down.
11th place team set up well in the zone. Looking for those placements. They've got a team on the other side that was looking for the engagement. They did get out for a little bit, but 69 builds. We've got very minimal heals as we get some swapped over. Still under 100 for this point of the game is going to be detrimental. As Chris is going to fall, that's going to be a big one going over to Yellow Glow. That elimination on. See exactly what happened there. As we move over, we see Salvo in the bottom right, FJAA, Chip in the bottom left with Lime. Again, these are all bubble teams. This is where our focus is going to be because, reminder, 1 through 3 right now is pretty comfortable. They're definitely qualified through, and there won't be many shakeups there. And if the shakeup does happen, they're not going to drop detrimentally out of the top 8.
But there's still a couple of spots potentially up for grabs on the backside of it. I'd say 6 through 8 with some top performances from some of the teams who are just on the outside looking in could be achievable, but it's going to require not only the placements, the elims are going to be critical. The +3 per each elimination ends up adding up very, very quickly. As we see, Zuko is trying to do everything he can to keep up that individual effort, getting a knock there onto Nick Jaw, continuing running through, and it looks like he's doing with the help of some lobby spray towards the side, as Linjock is also under a little bit of pressure.
We got to find something as we get a nice replay. I believe it may be a sniper shot coming through. Our first one that we've seen on broadcast. Oh, what a shot. And they weren't full HP, so they're going to go down.
Snipers not having the ability to knock somebody from 200 to 0, but anything a little bit less than that, I believe that was 177 going through, or 179. End up tagging, it might have been 187, sorry. End up going through, the rarity check ended up getting me there, but we see the power, and it's honestly probably a little bit of a mistake on Nick Jaw's part for just leaving an edit open that long and standing perfectly still, but with players having the MK7 in the red dot sight, you see a little bit more than that. When people get stuck scoped in and kind of just looking too much to aim down sights, you have the opportunity to just throw one of those shots out there, and that can be the entire answer to Surge, as Salter and Courier unfortunately end up going down yet again. So I'll strike out on my predictions, but still love being able to give a little bit of exposure to some of these players who might not have had an opportunity to see as much, and I swear that's not me just covering my butt on not necessarily the best of predictions.
Well, and no, 100%, you're right. I was going to bring up the point that a lot of these players in the top 8 will be new to a big majority of the audience because they just haven't had the chance to see them perform like some of us have. And that's great to see in a new chapter and different mechanics being brought in, the MK7 with that red dot, with that ability to aim in and hone your aim in on players, offers a lot of different aspects for people to become better at the game. And so seeing these new players is great. It's awesome. It's really good to see them performing well against some of this old guard, because it shows that, hey, even anybody can qualify here for this moment right now and then possibly to finals.
Right now, again, hopping back over Lime, Chip, Duo from Pulsar trying to get the shots out there and just continue the run. There will be no 5th zone storm surge. You can see top left-hand corner, 50 players remaining. One more duo will need to go down. We'll be into our cascading placement points. We got a pair of solos running around, but otherwise everyone has a buddy right now. And you can see, boom, there we are, cascading placement points about to start in a second.
First game, no storm surge. I'm not sure if that's content across the entire broadcast, but at least for West here, this is the first one we haven't seen with it. Looking at those bubble teams, we've got 7th and 2 teams tied for 6th right now. Again, as you can see, if they are tied, they will hold the same position, which is great because it gives us more opportunities to spectate them, see where they are in this game. One on the top right of zone, looks like one on the bottom right of zone, and one right in the middle. It looks like they're all kind of sandwiched in between each other. As we move on to Fruit and Tiny's perspective, we're seeing a little bit more snipers come out through us. Arkham and Epic Whale, even though one of them did get downed early on, was able to get the reboot off, get them back into the game, and they're still playing. So that first place spot still looking good for them. Good to still see them up. Jelty and Krizix, though, up on the high ground, 4th place. They need a great game to just really secure it.
Yeah, they're pretty safe. Again, with the 135, we're really looking towards those bottom couple of teams. The big thing is keeping an eye on that Elam feed in the top left-hand corner. And realistically, it's going to take a decent effort from Chip and Lime to be able to push forward. Salvo and FJA also right on that line, holding on to the shield keg. You can see that they want to use that potentially, but they're going to end up running out of opportunities. But since they're both mostly maxed right now, I kind of want to see what ends up happening on this rotation, because this is a long one for a lot of people. Bottom right hand corner, we can see Fruit and his duo taking to the sky, which with a high pad is very risky. You can see Fruit actually opting to land a little bit behind the tree, but he's going to land very far away. He's way out there right now, as we're going to zoom on in. Salvo, FJA trying to find a little bit of room right on the edge of zone. They're going to box up immediately. Fruit actually ends up getting an Elim onto Arkham going through there. Ooh. So that'll push him up a little bit as we continue watching here. With Salvo getting the split bottom right-hand corner. Lime and Chip, the ones who need some Elims to be able to climb it up. Because don't forget, every placement point that comes over, if somebody above them is still up, they're not gaining any ground.
Epic Well will fall, so first place Owl, but our focus is right here on the bubble. Fruit going down pretty low. Still has a lot of build, still has opportunity to get out. It's not that detrimental yet. They have no more pressure applied to them. They've got to be careful with where they're building, though. Jug Blasters will get them back up. They have time as zone is pulled back towards them as well. This is great. No one on that west side of zone, and no one needs to be, as it's pulling directly to the southeast. And look at Zuko. Look at Ego Obama. They set themselves up in a great spot. Still a lot of match. Still a lot of opportunity. And they need this game to really solidify it.
Yeah, they're right in that hunt for a top 8 spot, largely been on the back of Zuko being able to chain together those eliminations in one of, honestly, the best individual performances we saw in that solo clutch run. Kaboo picking up Elims there onto Prism. Here comes the Storm Surge warning, which is going to be a real shock for a bunch of people. However, with this rotation going back over old builds, there's no guarantee you're going to necessarily get opportunities to spray out shots. So some people are going to be in for a rude awakening. However, Fruit is not one of them. Neither is Daddy Salvo. Both are comfortably above, so they could just continue on their late rotations and moving around. You see on the left-hand side, Cool Kaizen taking to the sky, but Landjock up there trying to swat anyone down. My eyes are pinned on the right side of the screen. See if either of those two go down and make some room for Lime and Chip. If Lime and Chip don't start racking up the Elims, our top 8 is going to feel pretty safe. And right now you can see Salvo trying to just fish somebody out of the water.
Trying to find anything in. Nothing coming through. His high ground looking to be taken by Punisher and Landjack. 10th place going to be Nico and Buzzo. Rather, Buzzo and his teammate there almost able to get it. And look, Fruit and Tiny looking to get elimination. This would solidify them a little bit more. Zuconi and Girlbama just have to stay alive. Poyo is going to fall. Fruit will get that elimination. That's 133. Zuko at 134. They're trying just to stay alive. That's all they have to do is stay up in this game, and they will be good. They will make it through.
All it's about is finishing in that top 8, booking a ticket through to the finals, and honestly, it's on Lyman Chip to make the plays. They know they were only 7 points behind the pace. There is a little bit of a sense of urgency, but the victory royale by itself would be enough of a difference to push them up there over pretty much anybody, as long as FJA and Salvo or the other duo aren't in that second place spot. They should be fine. It's Tiny and Fruit who we're keeping an eye on, but in the bottom right hand corner, Lime picks up another one. That gap closes from 7 down to 4. Can they make the play in the final game here on NA West when there's one opportunity? And what happened? Salvo ended up going down, but FJA still up on his feet. He has plenty of chug splashes, plenty of slurpfish, going to work back through the zone, trying to find a little bit of room, making sure he checks his reload, making sure he min-maxes out on those heals. Can't afford to waste any amount of time, and he will also find a completely full set of web slingers and get himself forward into the zone.
But 9th place is currently on high ground. If they're able to secure this victory as well, they will shoot up into the top 8. So FJA has to get eliminations. Wale going to be in 3rd place, picks up an elimination. These placement points may be enough, but with PSR Chip getting an elimination as well, that's going to be another one over there to them. They are getting Elam after Elam. Landjug on the other side. FJA has to get away. Armored wall to the face. He says, no, thank you, Landjug. I will keep my run alive.
Tiny and Fruit ended up getting 2 eliminations as well, so that gap we talked about where Lime and Chip were closing it, the other 2 teams are opening it back up a little bit. This is going to come down to the final moments. We have 6, 7, 8, and 9 all still in the match, all directly on top of each other. Here's Tiny with 3 eliminations, trying to get towards the backside. 3 eliminations for his duo, 1 for the solo. 45 build still, but doesn't have a great angle. We'll get a little bit of respite with how the zone is pulling in a good angle as he continues just pushing forward and chipping away. Players are dropping all over the place. You can hear the sounds next to him right now as you see FJA still up on his feet. Chip, though, still in the Elam feed on that left-hand side, raining down shots. Every single duo that he yelled out. Tiny goes down. Zuko takes him out. There's room, Clay. There's room.
There is a chance. There's a chance for a lot of players right now. 7, 8, 9, 10 still here. Eagle Obama going to go down. Evo and Buzzo on high ground. They have it, but they got to find these Elams. They need to start spraying out, dropping down if they can. Slick Nick will fall down. Zuko on the other side, 6th place, looking to secure it. The Med Mist run that we've seen before many times. That's worst place on the other side. Don't want to really get involved there. Have to be careful. Medmist needs to come through, but the SMG spray gonna take him out. 148 is what they end on Buzzo, and Evo really need to find these eliminations on high ground. They need to get this victory royale as well. They want to secure that top 8 because, reminder, that is what they are hunting for. 148 is around where it is right now. 8th place currently, 9th place right there. You're right, Lyman Chip still operating on the low ground. They still have the chance.
They're so close. We saw 146 from Zuko and Co. They push into 8th place just like that. If there's not a tie above them, it should be good. We saw Salvo and them go down, but they want more than that. You can see Chip. He gets 1. He gets 2. Chip 9 eliminations up into 7th place. They say put some salsa on it, make some nachos. It doesn't matter. We're celebrating and going to the finals. A fantastic run where they were put down, but Evo and Buzzo, did they get enough eliminations to squeeze themselves in? We see they're in 9th. They will end up, if they can get this in the victory route, it's +9. I'm not sure it'll be enough though. I don't think 137 will end up doing it. They go down. They didn't get the Elam. Got the Elam and not them. We're gonna have to see what happens at the bottom, but what it looks like with 143, 145, 146 on Zuko and Co. It looks like Chip and Lime were able to just steal away that final spot, push down a couple of the others who are above them, but the top 8 will be finished after that. We know many of the names. I think there's still 1 or 2 we might be unsure of though, Clay.
And what a West way to end the qualifiers. It comes down to 6, 7 different teams in that final lobby where they're all looking for that last elimination. Great victory out there from Buzzo in a Vol. We'll have to see if it was enough to push them through, because this is that was the last game. That's it. Qualifiers are done we're going into semifinals after that. And those top 8, we won't see them there because they're going right to the finals.
That they will be in the finals. But I mean, ultimately, how many times on West have we seen a team with the opportunity to take the victory round, but needing eliminations, maybe not pick them up? I mean, it was just, as you say, a very typical West way to end it. But that's it from us as casters. Thank you so much, everyone. My name's Sundown, joined by Clay Styling. We're going to kick it on over the desk so they can close it out. So Takata, Panda, Kelly, take it away.
Thank you so much once again, Sundown. It was so good to have you back on NA West. And of course, huge shout outs to Clay Staling. But guys, my gosh, I mean, okay, first let it be said, Buzzo and Evol, great VR there, clenching it out. We're going to have to see in the top 10 where exactly they did fall. But Panda, Lime, and Chip playing out of their minds.
Absolutely. We have to showcase what they were able to accomplish here, because this was a huge feat. Not only for them to hold on here in a moment like this, but to be able to survive, stay in this end game, in the game that they needed most, and potentially get that clutch moment to get them into the top 8.
I mean, the nerves must have been so high, Panda, but they were able to stay calm, get those eliminations. Chip was securing Elim after Elim, scooping them up like they were guacamole, and he was just not done, even until those last moments where they clutched up the second place. And I believe, yeah, that pushed them into the top 8. That qualified them. I mean, I'm very impressed with how Chip and Lime performed this last match.
I'm very impressed as well. I mean, look, you see it here. They literally took advantage of every player close by. They jump into boxes. They're getting elimination after elimination. Not only did they know they needed this, but that desperation led them to that final moment. They made it in to the top 2. You see Chip here holding on, potentially going for it here. And unfortunately, he didn't get the victory royale. But with those eliminations, it easily puts him in the top 8.
I mean, yeah, who needs a VR with a run like that? Where is he going to sit in our top 10 leaderboard, though? Well, we're going to find out right now, everyone. I'm sure we can expect Arkham and Epic Whale in our top 8, but who is the remaining team? Batman, Booga, and Wheels will be in second place. Vanilla and Wale are in third. We have Pars and Rays in fourth. Lime and Chip jumping up out of the bottom 10 onto fifth place. We, of course, have Zuko and E-Girl Obama in sixth. Krizix and Jelty in seventh, and then wrapping it all up, it is Salvo and FJAA. They're grabbing the final spot to go straight into the finals. And I actually need to call this out right now. Salvo and FJAA, as well as Lime and Chip, both missed a game. So they were able to get into our top 8 with just 5 out of 6 games played, Panda.
Not only that, but you see there's actually a tie there on 8th and 9th place, and FJAA won because of the elimination average, because they had more eliminations.